season's back surgery and is the #1 ranked quarterback in the NFC, second only to Dan Marino in the entire NFL. His biggest weapon is one of the league's youngest superstars, Jerry Rice, the third-year receiver out of Mississippi Valley State. In less than 3 full years, Rice has racked up some incredible numbers, like 31 touchdown passes. He had 3 last week alone, and more than 3,000 yards receiving. He gives Bill Walsh the perfect complement to the controlled passing game. And while Jerry Rice is still in the process of introducing himself around the league, Joe Montana is back for an encore and passing the 49ers to the top. Bernie Kosar grew up in Ohio and wanted to play for the Browns. And in Cleveland, the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, this is #1.
Bernie, Bernie, oh yeah, how you can throw. Yeah, 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 yeah. Bernie, Bernie, oh baby, Super Bowl. He came from Miami, was oh so young. Rifles to the wizard, my one is gone. Makes the snap, drops back, looks down the field. Brandon breaks open, the victory sealed.
It's the kid against the old pro. The Browns face the 49ers. It's a perfect setting and a beautiful night for football in San Francisco. The 8-2 49ers against the 7-3 Cleveland Browns. The Browns have a game-and-a-half lead in their division. Houston and Pittsburgh both losing this afternoon. The 49ers need to win to hold on to sole possession of first place in the NFC West. New Orleans is staying right on their heels. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick, and it's great to have you with us for the Browns and the 49ers on ESPN. For each of these teams, the biggest test of their season comes tonight. As always, it's a pleasure to be working with Roy Firestone. And Roy, the baseball giants hit a lot of home runs in this park this past season. The 49ers are going for home runs, too.
Yeah, the 49ers are going to try to do what former presidential candidate couldn't do, and that is win with a little rice on the side. This is the kind of Rice that is the San Francisco treat. His name is Jerry Rice. You can't zone him. You can't bump him. 8 touchdowns in his last 12. In fact, nearly half of all of his touchdowns have covered 40 yards or more. Question is he going to be cooking rice or a converted rice tonight? He is facing maybe the best tandem of cornerbacks in the league, Frank Minifield and Hanford Dixon, the guys they call the Dogs. We'll find out if the Dogs have their day. Joe Montana is having his year. He has thrown for 3 touchdowns in every one of the 49ers' regular wins. Certainly there's a question on defense, but there is no question that Ed DeBartolo, the owner of the San Francisco 49ers, desperately wants a win here. You know, he commutes from Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, to be here for 49ers games. So a victory here of sorts will give him bragging rights in the state of Ohio.
Well, one of the guys they're still bragging about in Ohio is our guest analyst tonight. He was an All-American at Syracuse, went on to be a superstar with the Cleveland Browns, leading the league in rushing 8 of his 9 years. He had 7 1,000-yard seasons, and all this in the years of 12 and 14 game schedules instead of 16. His blend of power and speed allowed him to run past the ones he didn't run over, and Jim Brown ran easily into the Hall of Fame. Jim, it's great to have you with us on ESPN.
It's great to be here with you and Roy, Mike. It really is. A lot of rice going on around here.
Isn't there, though? A lot of Bernie Kosar going on in Cleveland, too. They love him there.
Oh, yes. Bernie Kosar is a remarkable young man. He's a bright young quarterback who in 2 years has mastered the complicated Cleveland Browns offense. Not only that, the young man has a lot of character. By character, he signed with the Cleveland Browns when everyone criticized him because he could have made a lot more money somewhere else. The young man has been criticized because they say he's awkward, immobile, and has a terrible sidearm delivery. Well, Arnold Palmer swung the golf club in a terrible way, and Muhammad Ali was always being considered a very bad fighter. I believe that the young man shuns publicity because he wants his teammates to share in it. Also, he has a very unique way of preparing for a game by using a technique of visualization, which is a part of the philosophy of psycho-cybernetics. He's truly a leader, Mike.
I know you like his leadership on offense, but the Browns have some leaders on defense. There's little cornerbacks.
Oh, yes. Those guys look like midgets. They started that barking thing. It's an amazing thing. Minifield and Dixon, unbelievable. They bark their ways into the heart of the defense. The defense is now #1 in the National Football League. They barked their hearts, and there are 80,000 people. In Cleveland, you have 80,000 dogs there. Today, we got to see if the dog's bite is going to be as bad as his bark.
The weather conditions are nearly perfect here in San Francisco. Temperature just under 60 degrees, just a hint of a wind, and almost no chance of rain. San Francisco has won the toss. They'll receive. Jaeger will kick off for the Cleveland Browns. And deep to receive, Harry Sidney, number 24, and Joe Cribbs, former great running back out of Buffalo, number 28. And we are set to go from Candlestick Park. Sidney on the hop at the 1-yard line. Flag is down as Sidney is bumped out of bounds at the 25-yard line, and it was Lucius Sanford, the man on special teams, and we'll pick up the call from referee Jerry Seaman. And as usual, it is an illegal block in the back. Joe Montana comes out as the top-rated passer in the NFC. 23 touchdown passes, 11 interceptions on the year. 11 of those 23 touchdown passes have gone to Jerry Rice. Nearly twice as many as any other receiver in the league. He has a lot of other weapons, too. The offensive line has undergone several changes because of injury. Randy Cross moved from guard to center. That's a move that may lengthen his career. With the penalty, San Francisco opens on its own 8-yard line. Nice play fake to Craig. Montana to Rathman, and Rathman up to the 17, 18-yard line. He's flattened there by Clay Matthews, the linebacker. The Browns' defense is the stingiest in the league. Carl Hairston is having a brilliant year at defensive end. The linebackers are tough. Clay Matthews gets more of the credit he deserves with Chip Banks out of the picture. The Browns probably have the best pair of cornerbacks in football. Minifield had 3 interceptions last week against Houston. Gain of 9 on the last play, so it's 2nd and 1. Rathman, the remaining back. And Montana to throw again. Matthews right in his face. Completes the pass out there to Dwight Clark. Clark, not the receiver he used to be, but this could be his final season.
You know, he's had 5 different knee surgeries in years past, 2 in the offseason this year. In fact, some talk about this could be his retirement year, this last swan song. Although he does have a multi-year deal, he could be back.
Montana, what a recovery he made from back surgery. His own surgeon said he was crazy to come back last year after the operation. Craig on the sweep. Gets it up to about the 23-yard line. Browns did a nice job on that. Mike Johnson made the stop. And we've got a little pushing and shoving already.
We might see a lot of that tonight, Jim.
Yes, we might.
Andrew Dixon.
Great. They're going to always be out there. They're going to try to intimidate Roy.
A little pushing and shoving going on. On offense, too, Webster Slaughter's pretty aggressive, too, down there, the receiver for the Browns.
Yeah, they have a lot of aggressive, young, small men, which is very rare for a football team.
Maybe they have a Napoleonic complex. Yeah?
2nd down and 8, the ball near the 24. Montana comes near side, had it stuffed back in his face, and that ball was batted away by Sam Clancy, the young man who was such a great basketball player at Pittsburgh and said he wanted to play football in the NFL, and he's doing it.
We're going to see a guy that's getting his hands up right off the bat and swatting this ball down.
Well, yeah, Roy, this is a technique that's being taught throughout the league. They teach you if you don't get to the pass, to get your hands up. You know, most of the guys now are over 6'6", so they can do it very effectively.
He's 6'7", 260 pounds. Basketball player. Played for Bobby Knight, by the way, so you know he has some ears.
That had to be tough.
That was in the Pan Am game.
Right.
3rd and 8. The Browns show a 4-man line and come with 4 on the rush. Montana steps up. He doesn't do this very often anymore, but he's got the first down. And protects himself at the 43-yard line. A 20-yard scamper for Joe Montana.
When we look at Joe Montana, this is one of the things that he can do better than anybody else in football. They almost had him, a nifty little move. You see where the ball is at. They don't tuck it in. Pretty good speed. Now watch him. He knows exactly what to do. He goes down, highly effective.
1st and 10, 49ers. They have the ball at the 43-yard line. They are the #1 total offensive team in the NFL. Rathman on the draw. And the fullback out of Nebraska is tripped up as he got to the 43. The 49ers have had a better ground game since they put Rathman at fullback and switched Craig to the halfback spot.
Yeah, that gives Craig more versatility. That's the reason why they did that.
There you see the highest paid coach in the National Football League. Bill Walsh earns $1,200,000, maybe the highest paid coach in all of sports with perks.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Second down, 10 yards to go. They'll split the backs. Montana looks toward Rice. And Rice, what a catch, but he's out of bounds. What a catch by Rice. Minifield right with him.
Right off the bat, Jim, he's trying to establish territory here, I would imagine.
No doubt about it. If you watch the way that Montana's been working, he set this up. The one thing that happened with Minifield at the time, he turned his back. Rice got the step on, the pass is just about there, but he's out of bounds.
Close play, too. I don't know. What about this, Mike?
I think he lands on the sideline, and that's out of bounds.
Here's the reverse angle. What do you think, Jim?
I think he was out. He didn't have possession of it.
Incredible balance. Great balance.
The ball is on the ground.
3rd and 10. Montana under pressure. Unloads for Wilson, and it's going to be intercepted deep by Felix Wright. Right back to the 40. And, oh, did he take a shot from Jesse Sapalo, who came down to make the tackle. The offensive guard turns defensive tackle.
Felix Wright, this is a guy who played in Canadian football ranks, a 3-year vet with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. This was an easy interception with no one around him.
Yes, it was. I think it was a misread between the receiver and the quarterback. You don't throw them that bad when you're quarterback. They got a lot of blocking, but this hit. Take a look at this, Roy.
Coming at the end.
Next one.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Oh, 61. That was Jesse Apollo, the offensive lineman. Big hit there.
So the first break of the ball game for the Cleveland Browns. They have it at their own 47, and Bernie Kosar leads them out. Lone remaining back, Kevin Mack, number 34. Mack wants to hear those signals. And Mack will get the first carry across midfield in the 49er territory. Kosar just turned 24 years old on Wednesday. He has thrown for 13 touchdowns, has only 6 interceptions this year. He has outstanding backs and receivers to work with, including Ozzie Newsome, the #1 all-time receiver among tight ends. There are no top draft choices on the offensive line, but they work well as a unit, and Pro Bowler Cody Risen is one of the best pass blockers around. 2nd and 5. Now they go to the more normal set with Ernest Biner, number 44, in there with Mack. Goes off. Sidearms one down the sideline for Biner. There is a flag down at the San Francisco 40-yard line after a 27-yard gain. And, Jim, that just illustrates what you talked about in the open about his technique. Technique doesn't matter if it works.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, he looked very awkward at that time, and I think the sidearm delivery really helped him.
Holding, number 22 defense.
On defense.
First down.
Big play. Watch the delivery. Now, a lot of quarterbacks throw at 12 o'clock, straight up and down. He really throws at 3 o'clock motion. Ronnie Lott says it drives them nuts in the secondary. Biner wide open in the edge.
Couldn't have thrown it any better.
Right
and
on target.
Foul was on Tim McKyer. They'll decline that and have a 1st and 10 inside the San Francisco 16-yard line. Browns are #1 in scoring in the league, 27.8 points a game. Mack on the delay. Does a great job of following his blockers, gets inside the 9-yard line, and he was just right on the heels of Cody Risen. He was almost attached to him.
Yes, he was. He was trying to make a decision on whether just to stay with him, break it outside, and he stays with him. Now, watch it very closely. Breaks bases to the outside. Now he could make that outside move, but if he did, they might take away the 2 or 3 extra yards that he's getting right there. The body lean kept him going forward. That's what they do. Very effective. Those guys will keep that body lean, get the 4 or 5 extra yards.
Cody Rison's a good guy to hide behind if you're going to do it.
Absolutely.
2nd and 3. Biner. Got a hold of the 5. Oh, loose football.
He's got it.
And it looks like the Browns. It looks like Biner got it back. Let's see if he can hold on to it.
That's a good point.
Touchdown, Cleveland.
Now that's a big break. He lost the ball, and the ball was on the ground for several seconds. Then he gets the ball back and turns it into a touchdown to boot. Actually moved the ball up several yards.
Well, Roy, whenever the ball hits the ground, it's anybody's ball. You never know what's going to happen because it isn't wrong.
Here it is. Now he gets a good run out of it. He's got to be impressed with the way he was running the football, and then he just squirts loose. Wasn't really hit, I don't believe.
They slashed, Roy. They slashed in Cleveland. See, the ball was out there. Now it's being stripped.
That's all
it's
it is.
being pulled. It's being stripped. They teach them to strip the ball.
That was Ronnie Lott who took it away from him.
And Ronnie's a very tough young man.
But Biner got in there, and Jaeger will come on for the point after. They had some problems with the holds of Gary Danielson a week ago, but not this time. And the Cleveland Browns, with 9:22 to go first quarter, have a 7-0 lead on the Niners.
Winning the world over.
Now, during Ford's Leadership Celebration, get a cash bonus of up to $600 on the cars that are winning the world over. Combine your cash bonus with an option package discount and save over $1,600 on Thunderbird, $1,200 on America's design leader Taurus, and over $1,100 on the world's best-selling car Escort.
Winning the world over. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Your face takes enough of you.
Boy, that turnover and movement down the field got the Browns blood juice. They're ready to go.
Jaeger to kick off again. Sidney and Cribbs deep to receive, and Joe Cribbs from the 9. Cribbs to the 32. Fine return. And let's take a look at the last touchdown, as the Browns really got a break on it.
You see Biner right here, wide open in the field. The ball stripped by Lott. Webster Slaughter actually helps us out, Jim.
Oh, yes. When the ball falls, like I said, it isn't round. It's oblong, so it bounces in many directions. You are taught to go after it. And everybody's going after it. You never know who's going to get it, but you must be alert enough to really go after it hard.
Biner got it back.
49ers from their own 31. Montana, a master at the play faking. Gets it out to John Frank, his tight end. 45 flag is down. Another flag is down. And Frank all the way to the Cleveland Browns 41-yard line, a 28-yard gain. And John Frank is quite a story. If he comes back to his former form, he'll give the 49ers a huge boost.
We'll wait for the call here. Let's take a look at it. It looks like a face mask.
Oh.
You talk about John Frank, an interesting story. This guy played last season in a haze. His father, with whom he was very close, was his confidant, business manager, allegedly took John's money, his investments, and disappeared. 2 weeks ago, the FBI arrested John Frank's father. Charges are pending. Frank told me he's glad at least his father's alive. He still regards him as a man of character. This was a very productive play, though, on the field. John Frank, there's the guilty party right down there. Number 24, that is Ray Ellis, the safety man. But a big offensive play right off the bat for the 49ers.
And that's got to be a devastating thing emotionally for him to go through, and it really ruined his season a year ago. Penalty moves it to the 27. Montana gets it out to Frank again. First down and more, and Frank driven out of bounds by Minifield and Ellis as he reaches the 10-yard line.
Montana undaunted, Jim, going right back to the air.
Well, you know what's happening, fellas? The 49ers, they're getting good play fakes. That back is going up into the line. He's holding them. They've devised a few more wrinkles. They're not concentrating on Rice, and men are being wide open.
Really a lost art in the National Football League anymore. You see guys fake, and you know they're not even 2 or 3 yards of the guy they're supposed to be handing it to.
Exactly right. But when you watch that, the first fake, you fooled our cameraman. That's a good trick.
First and 10, Rathman on the delay inside the 5 for the 2. Clay Matthews had to bring him down at the 2-yard line, and Rathman at 232 is a load out of Nebraska.
Big power running. One of 3 backs from Nebraska for the 49ers, Tom Rathman.
Now, if we watch this one, Roy, he's been faking. Now he gives it off, which means that these guys are going to get good blocks. This young man is put in there because of his power. He's a north and south runner. Good run.
Rathman and Craig from the 1. Craig. Whoa!
Oh!
Not this time.
Golic. Big lick here from Bob Golic, the nose tackle. Number 79 at the bottom. And also number 51, too. That is Eddie Johnson. Yeah, the linebacker. Golic really stuffed the run here. And then Johnson came up with the hit right there.
It's one of those timing plays. Third down. Montana wants to throw for Rice. Touchdown, 49. That is the 12th touchdown pass of the season for Jerry Rice.
Plenty of it and more. We'll tell you an interesting story about Jerry Rice and how he developed those large Dr. J-like hands from an evolutionary standpoint. I check out his hairstyle, too. They call him Fifi.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, the players, the teammates. They say he looks like a French poodle.
He can be anything he wants to be right now, Roy.
Ray Wershing will kick out for the 49ers, and Gerald McNeil is deep to receive. He's only returned one kickoff this year, normally the punt returner, but they want him back there. McNeil from the 3. Oh! Gets it to the 21. He's 147 pounds, dripping wet.
He may be the
could take
smallest
some punishment.
player who ever played the game, you know, at least in modern days.
John Taylor on special teams made the catch, or made the tackle, rather. The 49er defensive front is not getting many sacks, but Michael Carter is the prototype nose tackle. The linebacking is solid. Michael Walter having a terrific year, leads the team in tackles with 61. The secondary, good run support. Ronnie Lott is one of those rare players who has made the Pro Bowl at 2 different positions. Steiner goes to a wing. Out to Matt. Got a nice block, got another nice block. He gets it out to the 35-yard line. Webster Slaughter, number 84, downfield. And a good block from a wide receiver. Gave him another 5 yards.
Looks like they're trying to open up the field a little bit with these little swing passes. Really, that's part of their strategy, the little stuff, right, Jim?
Oh, yes. Both teams are using the little stuff. Mack, at this point, should really accelerate here, but he gets it down. He drives forward. They're always taught that. They're not fancy in Cleveland.
Jeff Fuller came up from the secondary. Marty Schottenheimer looking on from the sideline. Most of this offense is the brainchild of Lindy Infante, and wherever he goes, the offense works. Kosar, deep sideline this time, and Slaughter has it. Oh. He's inbound somehow and then couldn't hold his balance. Out of bounds inside the 28-yard line. The tightrope back for 43 yards.
I love the way he tightropes this play, picking up about another 10, 12 yards here, Jim.
Absolutely. They're taught that in Cleveland. They have that dashing spirit. Most of them are very small, very courageous receivers.
They're taught a lot of things in Cleveland, it looks like.
Oh, yes, and it shows up, too, in the win column.
Maybe the toughest, most aggressive receiver in the game. He might be the junkyard dog right from Slaughter.
Well, he's improved like 100% over last year by his own admittance, you know.
Kosar, 3 out of 3, 79 yards. Hit in the backfield and stacked up this time. Fine play by Jeff Stover, the free agent out of the University of Oregon, starting at left end tonight. There's Lindy Infante.
What does he do that perhaps others haven't done in recent years in Cleveland?
Well, basically, there are only a few football minds that can come up with the complicated offenses. In fact, most of the skilled men on Cleveland have to learn each other's positions, so they are interchangeable. That's very difficult to keep.
Loss of 2 on the last play, so it's 2nd and 12. Notice Kosar has that offset right leg. You want him to get out of there a little faster. Coming on the blitz, he reads it. Complete pass and a fumble. Or is it? Recovered by Webster Slaughter. So that's the second time the Browns have fumbled, and the guy who fumbled managed to get it back.
It looked like Lott was here on a safety blitz. The last minute, Kozar eluded it and threw up the middle.
Well, you know, Roy, the quarterback's responsible for the safety blitz. That is his man, and the back has to be ready for the slant. That's a good example of it.
And that did not look like a complete pass to me.
Looked like it was an incompleted, and then they gave him credit for...
and now it's going to go to the instant replay booth.
Here it is. What do you think, Jim? Now, did he catch this ball and then fumble it, or was this just an incompleted pass?
Well, I thought...
Now, here it is.
I thought he caught the ball.
It's a hit.
He seemed to have it for two steps.
2 beats.
Don Griffin is the defender.
It's really a matter if he has control of it. If he doesn't have control of it, then it's incompleted.
He might have had it. It's really hard to see from that particular angle.
It's definitely close.
Now, the replay has to be conclusive in order to reverse the officials on the field. And that's where the decision is being made right now. Armin Terzian, the replay official tonight. 49ers making some changes in their defense at this moment, anticipating at least a 3rd down and 3, if not longer, sending in their nickel package. Marty Schottenheimer has certainly had wonderful success with the Cleveland Browns.
I'd like to mention the fact that Schottenheimer is the kind of a guy who can hire assistants who are geniuses. A lot of coaches can't do that.
That's right.
I think Bill Walsh is the total genius. He doesn't want too many guys around that's too smart. Schottenheimer, just the opposite.
He can sublimate the ego.
Oh, yes.
And they do call it incomplete.
Taking it back. That's a big one to lose,
I
too.
think it's a good call. And that's the first incompletion for Kozar. Not his fault. He got the ball there.
It was hard, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes very hard to hold on to.
Slaughter might have heard the footsteps, too.
No, I don't think so, Roy. Not Slaughter.
So now it's 3rd down and 12 yards to go. It's spotted back at the San Francisco 30-yard line. We're tied at 7, 4:32 to go first quarter. What the delay is. Now the officials will let him play. 3rd and 12. And now after all of this, Kozar wants a timeout. Unusual sequence, and Cleveland calls a timeout with 4:32 to go in the first quarter. Kozar just turned 24 years of age on Wednesday.
You know why I called it timeout?
No.
There's too much noise. He couldn't get the audible off. He was trying to audible at that particular time. The guys couldn't hear it.
All right, we have 4:32 to go first quarter. Cleveland and San Francisco tied a touchdown apiece. Our line, Mike Patrick, Roy Firestone, and Jim Brown with you from San Francisco. Glad you could join us on a Sunday night here on ESPN.
What are we looking for here, Jim? What kind of play?
Well, actually, what's going to happen is he's going to pass it, but he's got to get at least 13 yards, and he's got to have his audibles heard, and he's got to have his players ready for sight adjustment, because they don't know what defense, but they're not going to have that much time to throw the ball.
Finer is the only remaining back.
They're talking. They can't hear.
49ers come with a 4-man rush. Kozar has to scramble. This is not his strong suit. He's driven out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
Let's face it, when you talk about Bernie Kozar, you're not talking about a guy with great foot speed. I think they time him in the 40 with the sundial. I mean, when he drops back, he looks kind of like an alcoholic giraffe. I mean, awkward. We're talking awkward, folks.
The best one I read about him, they said he was slower than erosion.
Well, I'll tell you what's happening, fellows. You see, this crowd is hurting Kozar because that complicated offense needs those guys to hear those signals so they can check into the weak spot of the defense.
Jaeger will try it from 44. His long this year is 48. Hooked it. So San Francisco's defense holds. And the 49ers will take over when we come back. 4:19 to go in the corner, still tied at 7.
And a bad hold for Danielson, who, by the way, has his left foot, his left knee down as opposed to his right knee down. They just can't seem to make those adjustments. It's beginning to hurt them.
49ers take over just outside their own 25-yard line. Craig trying to get outside. Minifield forced him back in. And the safeties, Ellis and Felix Wright, come up to make the tackle. Coming up next Sunday, hope you'll join Chris Berman, Pete Axtell, and Tom Jackson. That's for NFL Game Day starting at 11:30 Eastern, and they'll be back at 7 o'clock for NFL Primetime, where you will see highlights of every NFL game. And then we have the Bears and the Vikings for you. Roy and I will be joined by former Viking star Ed Marinaro, also the former star of Hill Street Blues. And Minnesota, of course, won on Thanksgiving Day. The Bears won today over Green Bay 23-10. Montana dumps it out to Craig. That little controlled passing game. He's driven out of bounds there by Minifield.
Now, this is a guy who caught a lot of passes, as we said at the top, 1,000 yards in rushing, 1,000 yards in pass receiving a couple years back, and he's doing it again this year.
Well, he's a perfect kind of back for Walsh's offense and Montana's offense. These guys will pick you to death because they use everyone perfectly.
Not particularly fast, though, right, Jim?
Well, he has a high knee action. It takes his foot a long time to get down on the ground, but he doesn't have to be too fast, only as fast as he is, because, as you said, 1,000 yards and 1,000 yards.
First and 10 at the 36. Craig again. Not this time. Wrapped up in a hurry by Darrell Sims. Sims at 282 out of Wisconsin, a former #1 pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Didn't work out there, and they'd love to see him play up to that potential.
Well, I tell you, Roy and Mike, when you see a play like this, is usually a misassignment.
He was wide open there, Sims was.
Yeah, a lot of times a great play is given to a guy, but somebody made a mistake. They didn't put the right kind of block on him because he shouldn't have made that kind of penetration.
2nd and 14. Craig is 4 carries, only 2 yards, and that offensive line is really beaten up. Craig this time caught with a great tackle by Mike Johnson. What pursuit!
Leg tackle, too. That's the best kind of tackle for a back like Craig.
Well, he saved a big play there.
Oh, exactly. If you watch this replay, if we can really see it, this is a great athlete because he should have never made this tackle. Craig would have gotten about 20 more yards if he didn't do that. That's athletic ability.
Michael Johnson, former USFLer, by the way. Virginia Tech, academic All-American.
3rd down, 9 yards to go. 4 wide receivers in for Montana. 4-man rush, steps up, and throws incomplete. Over the head of Rice and short of Mike Wilson. So the 49ers will have to give it up.
If you'll notice, they're using Rice sparingly and very wisely.
Yeah.
That's an effective way to go after a team after a guy's had a big week.
A decoy, perhaps? Or is it too early to tell?
A lot of decoying, but they're going to come to him at certain times because he can get the big play on you, but they make you cover the field.
Runninger on the kick. This is Gerald McNeil. He has had 2 kick return for touchdowns this year, but both called back to possible penalties. And not a good kick by Runninger, although McNeil won't be able to get his hands on it, so in that respect, maybe it is a good kick. 34-yard punt with the roll. Next Saturday, our CFA football has a fine doubleheader for you. Arkansas against Hawaii. That one starts at 4:30 and, of course, follows college football game day. And then what a way to wrap up the regular season for the Miami Hurricanes, ranked 2nd against #9 South Carolina. And the Gamecocks can play with anybody. Arkansas winning over New Mexico yesterday. Hawaii suffered a 4-point loss. South Carolina had the day off Miami, rolled it up over Notre Dame. And Miami is a great football team. Kozar gets the quick out, the completion to Webster Slaughter. Don Griffin takes him out of bounds.
We're talking about University of Miami before. Jimmy Johnson and Bernie Kozar got into it a few weeks back. Apparently Kozar miffed at the way things are going on down there. I spoke to him yesterday about his attitudes for his alums, and he said basically we've been able to smooth things over, but basically my coach was Howard Schnellenberger and not Jimmy Johnson, but he doesn't have any negative feelings for the Miami program.
Brian Brennan, number 86, into the wide receiver spot on 2nd and 3. Driving toward the first down marker, which is just shy of the 40-yard line.
There's Joe Montana. You talk about Montana in terms of his effectiveness. All he does is win, folks. When you look at the numbers, 7-3 in the playoffs, 2-0 in Super Bowls. That's the ultimate test, of course. 3 touchdowns against the Cardinals, 400 yards against the Skins. He's been racking up the big numbers this year. In fact, this could be an MVP season for Joe Montana. Very quietly. Played during the replacement games, and that'll certainly help the stats. But a lot of people think he deserves the MVP vote, at least this point.
It's going to be 3rd and inches.
Ronnie Lott, shoulder problems. He's had it for a while. He's had shoulder problems, finger problems. You know, he actually had his finger partially amputated. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. You can see on the replay right here, Mack with the block here on Biner. And Lott, and that would probably cause the injury. You can't really see it too well.
225 pounds, meaning 200. 3rd and inches for the Browns from their own 40. And Tim Manoa is in at fullback to block. And Mack, or Biner rather, slips through the hole, gets out to about the 43.
You know, Roy, that was a beautiful run because a very subtle thing that he did, you watched his feet, he made just a slight shift and ease into the hole. He could have just banged it in there and he would have been stopped.
Looked like he was initially stopped and then leaned forward, too.
Well, his feet moved over just a little bit, and that allowed him to get that first down.
Ball's at the 43, 1st and 10 for the Browns. This could be the last play of the first quarter. We're down to 8 seconds. And Kozar is going to let the clock run out. He wants to be able to think about this one a little bit on 1st and 10 from the 42, and that is the end of the first quarter of play here at Candlestick in San Francisco. It's the 49ers 7, and the Cleveland game winner became the most famous pass in the history of San Francisco football. Montana to the sure-handed Dwight Clark to beat the Cowboys 28-27 on the way to a world championship. Both players, of course, have had injuries since then. Montana seems to be fully recovered from his. Dwight Clark's career may be winding down because of his injuries. Bad knees are the things that take guys out.
Yeah, Clark 2 catches shy, actually 1 catch now shy of the coveted 500 catch mark. There's Ronnie Lott. He's back in the game. I'll tell you the story about this. He actually had his finger partially amputated. There it is, the pinky finger, because he said it was infected year in and year out. It wasn't fused properly. He said, cut it off. I want to play, folks. And he did.
It's pretty tough when you start giving up body parts. Kozar guns this one complete to about the 48-yard line. Jim Fonhorst there to make the tackle.
Interesting story about Lott, though. The next day after he had his finger partially amputated, the team trainer walked up to Ronnie and said, Ronnie, I know how to break it to you. After you had your finger chopped off, we've just traded you to St. Louis for Stump Mitchell.
Roy.
Story. That's true.
Ozzie Newsome made that catch, and he only needs 4 more to go past Lionel Taylor into the 9th place all-time in the NFL. 2nd and 5 for the Browns. These offenses are remarkably similar. And they'll shift the back. Kozar near sideline to Slaughter, complete. Slaughter taken out at the 41-yard line by Don Griffin, a 10-yard gain.
We were talking before about Webster Slaughter. He is a feisty one, Jim. You know, he had a shoving match with Kozar a couple years back, and he's tried to tone down his game, but very aggressive out there.
Yes, that attitude came from the defensive dogs. This guy has the same attitude. And he has what you call football speed, Roy. We're going to talk about that a little later.
Okay.
Kozar, 6 out of 7, 103 yards. And they have done a great job on 1st down, as you see. his way down to the 35, maybe the 34-yard line. Ronnie Lott came up from the safety.
What do you mean when you say football speed as opposed to track speed?
Well, they talk about Jerry Rice only running a 4.6. That's ridiculous. Jerry Rice might run a 4.3 on the football field because football speed is different than track speed. When you're running as a track man, you're thinking about everything. When you run as a football man, if you can explode on the cut, if you can explode off the line, then you're going to have that great football speed.
Whatever Jerry Rice runs, the 49ers will take it. 2nd and 4. Mack, the lone remaining back. And he'll get the ball again. Trying to cut it outside. 30, 27-yard line. Another first down. And Ronnie Lott, who is the third leading tackler on this ball club, has to come up from the secondary to make another hit.
And here's Kevin Mack. What do you like about the way he runs?
Well, I'll tell you, he made a very good choice here. They basically blocked straight ahead in Cleveland. The guy actually moved the inside, defensive man inside. Mack made the outside cut, which means he is big, but he's also very nifty, and he's also taught to choose which side to go off behind the block.
In 114 last week, that was the first 100-yard game for a Cleveland Brown running back this season. Good fake. Kosar to Biner. Biner shoved out of bounds. Should be another first down. That was Milt McCall, who was very good against the pass.
Mack and Biner really complement each other. They have the separate kinds of abilities. Mack, the quiet bruiser. Biner, maybe the slasher with more versatility. What makes the great back?
Well, you mean these great backs? What makes these guys great is because they play within the Cleveland system. Biner does everything he's asked. He's not going to have the great statistics. He catches the ball. He blocks. He fakes. He does everything. Mack runs up the middle. They block for Kosar. They are great for the Cleveland system.
And in this system, he is the #1 receiver on this ball club and got a first down on that one.
Can you compare Mack and Biner to Brown and Green?
Not from the standpoint of greatness, but you can compare them in the sense that these two guys are more valuable to this team because they share things. I did all the running in Cleveland. Green did all the blocking. That wouldn't go too well with Kosar being quarterback.
They said Jim Brown wouldn't block. Is that true?
Well, I really didn't have too many blocking assignments, Roy.
Yeah, right.
If they were going to pay me $1 million, I'd block every play.
And well.
Yes.
1st and 10 for the Browns there at the San Francisco 17. Mack. About 4 yards out of that play. Didn't look like much, but 4 yards is fine on first down.
Mike, that's the key. You know, they want 4 yards from these guys. They want 5 yards. They want them to catch a little short pass and get 4 more yards. That complements Kosar. Very good. That's what they want. They don't want him dancing around.
So it'll be 2nd and 6. We're tied at 7. Second quarter, 11:40 to go. Far side, Slaughter to the near side, and Newsom shifts to the left. And they usually run away from Ozzie Newsom. They do again. Mack, a little stutter step, stops shy of the 10-yard line. Carter is in there on him, along with Jim Fawnhorst. He's done a good job on the run.
I don't want to rub this in, JB, but Kevin Mack broke your rookie rushing record with fewer carries, Jim Brown.
That rarely happened. I'm glad someone did it. I'm glad you brought it up because I set all my records with fewer carries, and they're telling me about Faith and all these guys, so I'm glad Mack did it.
Big play here, 3rd and 4. 4 wide receivers in for Kosar. Dropped out there by Brian Brennan. Probably has the best hands on the team. Pass a little bit behind him.
Now, this is going to be a little pick play, but I'm going to tell you something that happened on this particular play. Watch his eyes. He took his eyes off the ball for a second and looked at the defensive man. He's there. He took that little glance, and the ball went down on the ground. That happens once in a while.
He's only caught 2 passes in the last 3 games, Brian Brennan has. He's been a little slow of late.
Jaeger will try from 28 yards. They got this one down, and Jaeger is perfect. And the Browns here in San Francisco, with 10:36 to go in the first half, have taken a 10-7 lead. Jaeger to kick off to Sidney and Cribbs. Cribbs at the 5. back out to the 29. A 24-yard return will set up the 49ers in good field position. And both teams offensively have been able to move the ball. That time the Browns took it 60 yards in 12 plays before Jaeger capped the drive with that 28-yard field goal. John Frank is in there at the tight end. Jerry Rice, one of the wide receivers. And in this formation, they'll go with two tight ends. The other is Ron Heller, number 89. Running back to Craig and Lampton. Montana to Craig. Craig across the 30, driven out of bounds about the 33-yard line. And that was David Grayson out of Fresno State that chased him out of bounds. The Browns would love to have Mike Junkin in there as a linebacker, the young man they drafted out of Duke. And there is Randy Cross. And the one thing the 49ers do not want to see is anyone else on that offensive line injured.
He's the only holdover on the offensive line from a year ago. He's had knee problems playing an uncharacteristic center position, although he's played in weeks past, going up against the nose tackle Bob Golick. See right here, might have turned a knee. I don't want to speculate too much.
They have had all sorts of problems with the offensive line. He's in there for Fred Quillen. In fact, the offensive line coach, Bob McKittrick, was publicly criticizing both starters at tackle, Keith Farnhorst and Bubba Paris, and he was reprimanded by Bill Walsh and by those tackles. They didn't like it at all.
Even John Ayers before that, an offensive lineman McKittrick was very critical of, and a lot of the veterans on the offensive line didn't like it. We'll take a look at the replay right here. It looks like Harris Barton gets blocked into Randy Cross. Actually, this is Carl Hairston. Watch number 78 right there, the right-hand side of your screen. Oh, boy.
Randy Cross now up and walking off under his own power, but he is limping. And that's been the problem with the 49ers offense. It's amazing that they have the #1 rated unit as far as total offense is concerned in the league with all those offensive line problems.
Well, do you realize that these guys have to learn an awful lot to play this particular offense? It's not easy to make all those adjustments as a lineman.
So they'll go with number 56, Fred Quillen, who was the starter. He's had 2 concussions this year. And once you start getting your bell rung that often, it just seems to happen more and more. Right? Got the first down for 42.
Montana's pass completed to Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice. Now, his hands are huge, as I told you before, bigger perhaps than Dr. J. His father was a bricklayer, and every day for 10 summers, he'd throw Jerry bricks to slap down in the cement. He did it so much that Jerry developed an uncanny strength in his fingers, in his hands, and his wrists. Also, there was a 1.5-mile dirt road up to his house. He'd run that every day, so he was actually conditioning from a very young age.
And that's the worst game, not the average, but everything else, the worst game he has had this year.
Oh! Did he catch that football? Nope.
Incomplete at midfield.
Would have been an incredible catch if he did.
On the coverage, Ray Ellis.
You were talking about bricks, Roy, you know.
He had a brick right there.
Well, yeah, but he almost made a great catch. I'm sure he had to soften his hands up after catching all those bricks you were talking about.
Call him the Flash. Look at that.
Oh.
Almost.
Great acrobatics.
They showed him a zone that time. Minifield had him first, and then Ellis picked him up. The Browns do play some zone, more than most people think, but they excel at that man-to-man coverage. 2nd and 10.
Good mobility.
Montana will keep it and dives to the 50-yard line, about 2 yards shy of a first down.
It still never ceases to amaze me. The fact that Montana, after having major back surgery, most people thought his career was over. His season wasn't even over.
Right.
Came back. You think he should have come back? You know, there are so many chances in life, Jim.
Football is war, Roy. You know, you either do it or you don't. You can get hurt for life. That kind of thing is the next thing in the war. But when Montana runs, he has to run because that's one of his weapons. If he would eliminate that, he would not be the great quarterback that he is.
3rd down, 2 yards to go. Montana, great fake. Rathman, first down, 40, 30, 25, ran right over top of Ellis. Oh, what a fake by Montana.
right side of the line was faked out on this play. Look at them all going one direction. What a bootleg.
That's what we're talking about. Walsh comes up with these new wrinkles. He's been setting this up. Rothman is the old-style football player. You saw what he just did. I mean, Walsh and Montana are using everything in this game. It's a big game.
Beautiful fake.
Oh, and Roger Craig really carried it out, too.
Sure.
Craig on the toss this time. Matthews trying to get him outside, and Clancy will wrap him up. Matthews did a great job of stringing that play out, wouldn't let him turn the corner.
This young man is playing a different position just for the team. He prefers to play a different linebacking spot. Now, because of the great success of the team, he's making personal sacrifice.
Matthews was the runner-up for NFL Linebacker of the Year. You remember the NFLPA, by the way. You remember Arthur Godfrey? I think, unfortunately, they're both about the same status right now. Hate to say it, but...
What? Cleveland 10-7 over San Francisco, 2nd and 10. And this is Harry Sidney. Looked like he wanted to throw the football, brought down at the 20. There is a penalty marker down on the play. He caught me off guard with that one. And it will be a hold against San Francisco. Not many penalties in this ballgame.
You see Bill Walsh looking over his plays. He's a man who believes in the strategy, military strategy, admires military heroes like Admiral Nelson, the Duke of Wellington, von Clausewitz. He says, attack the other side with clean, sharp blows. Move faster than your opponent.
Number 79 offense, still 2nd down.
Couldn't move faster that time, though. The offensive line will bring it back.
It was Harris Barton, a rookie out of North Carolina.
Talking about Walsh, his father was a mechanic, and as a kid, he'd make sure his cars looked beat up on the outside, but beautiful running on the inside. Loved the inner workings of his cars, just like his football team.
Yes, boy.
2nd and 20. Sidney is here as a running back. And through the hands of Mike Wilson, the crowd wanted a penalty flag on that one. As Hanford Dixon was right with him, and now Dixon is going to talk to him about it.
You think he's barking there, Jim?
Yes, he's barking. He almost got a penalty, too. And now he didn't get the penalty. He almost drew a penalty.
They don't like it here. Did you have guys talking to you on the field? Did you do any talking?
All the time. It was very close, boy.
Looked like he got there a little bit early. And the crowd is seeing the replays that you're seeing up on the big screen here at Candlestick, so they react to them just the way you do at home.
Nice, a hometown crowd.
Yes, it is. 3rd and 20. Probably thought that was a great call in Cleveland. Over the middle for Rice. Oh! He's amazing. He's just doing things that no one else in this league is doing.
Are they in a zone here, Jim? What kind of defensive alignment are they in?
I'm going to try to get a look at it, Roy. I can't really see the whole field. It's isolated. The replay is isolated.
Minnifield let him go, and that's number 24,
And it only
Ray
takes
Ellis.
one step and it's jumping the building.
Beautiful.
'49ers going for the extra point and have it. They have a 14-point lead. Ray Perkins said he's the tallest, fastest, quickest, toughest, best receiver in professional football.
And his reaction to it. Jerry Rice doing a little stutter step in the end zone.
That's called a cabbage patch, Roy.
There's Joe.
That was a beautiful toss, too.
Beautiful. And a nice picture, I might add, from our camera guys. There's Jerry Rice.
And his 13 touchdown passes in less than 3 years of his career. He lost, you know, he's just unbelievable.
Flash 80.
Worshing, excellent kickoff. McNeil at the 2. And got back to the 21. They're fired up in San Francisco as the 49ers have taken a 4-point lead on a 71-yard drive. That is only the 5th time this year someone has been able to make a long drive on the Cleveland Browns and score.
Good human story about Jerry Rice. His rookie year, he dropped 10 passes in 7 games and cried on the sideline. Ronnie Lott told him, hey, ease up, man. You're going to be the best. Since then, 27 touchdowns in 26 games coming into tonight.
And all
really
the tears,
turned it around.
All the tears are coming from defensive
You
backs.
bet.
Browns from their own 21. Kozar out to Biner, the 33-yard line, chased out of bounds there by Jeff Fuller, the strong safety.
Jerry Rice, he says, just like Fernando, sometimes it's better to look good than to feel good. He says, I always have to look right. My wardrobe, my hairstyle, my car, my jewelry. This guy comes from Crawford, Mississippi, population 517, Jim. Bit of culture shock coming out here.
Talent comes from everywhere, right?
A couple of years when he gets that new contract, he can go back and buy Crawford.
Exactly.
Footing gets out to the 33. This field is in a lot better shape than it used to be. Used to have problems with it being wet all the time.
Yeah, it used to be the artificial circuit.
You know, we mentioned about Rice, and we mentioned Walsh's offense, all of the misdirection, the fakes. This whole concept is to save Rice for the big plays. He's got 2 touchdowns. You don't have to try to get a guy. You don't force it. A guy like Walsh knows that.
He might only throw 5 times to him tonight.
Exactly.
The word genius is tossed around an awful lot, but it applies in his case. 2nd and 10. Trips wide receiver to top of the screen. Kozar, bomb from behind Charles Haley on the blitz. He was the leading sacker a year ago with a dozen, and Kozar never saw that one.
And Bernie getting up very slowly, I might add. Here you see Haley. Bernie's supposed to have pretty good peripheral sense, you know, but he couldn't really sense it that time. Big hit here. Right on the numbers, Jim.
Exactly. In fact,
got away from Paul Farron.
Bernie is going to talk to Farron.
Yeah. If he can speak, 3rd and 17. Sort of takes the wind out of you. And Kozar tried to force one in there. It's knocked away, and that's Tim McIyer, the cornerback who got a hand on it. Pass intended for Langhorne, and the Browns will have to kick it away.
And this time, it's McIyer that's doing the talking. In fact, the 49ers front office folks tell us that he has a bit of a big mouth at times, and he'll be barking at Cleveland tonight. Good play there by McIyer. He may be the 49ers version of Lester Hayes.
Punted away and signal for the fair catch. Dana McLemore at the 35-yard line. A 38-yard punt, no return. 5 minutes 34 to go first half. Marty Schottenheimer's club is down by 4. And Lindy and Foddy talking to Bernie Kozar on the sideline after he tried to force one in there and didn't get it. And the 49ers take over at their own 36, leading by 4. Great fake, or wasn't it ever? And he dumps it off to the man he faked to, Rathman, to the 50, to the 42-yard line. And he's stopped by Lucius Sanford. 23-yard game. Boy, that was a great fake.
Mike, I'll tell you, you take a guy like Rathman who nobody's going to try to defend. You fake to him. He now becomes a part of your offense. There's nobody out there. The reason there's nobody's out there because of the scheme that Walsh has set up and the fact that they've got to look at Rice and Craig and all those other guys.
Yeah, they have him as a blocking back.
Not blocking on that?
Nope.
Rathman's been starting for 4 weeks, and the ground game has really done well since then. Craig broke off a couple of tackles, but Clay Matthews is there and gets a lot of help, and they stop him at 43. The report on Randy Cross is a slightly injured knee, questionable whether he'll return. 2nd and 10. Craig, 7 carries, but only 8 yards. And there is Randy Cross on the sideline. Craig Quillen, who was the starter, is in there as the center. Comes the blitz. Montana bought some time and got it to Craig. To the 20, there is a flag down. A great job by Montana, just moving those feet, sidestepping, getting a little time.
It may come back, but I'll tell you something. Craig made one terrific catch downfield.
And it's a hold.
He caught it over the shoulders in full stride.
Rogers is a great athlete. I mean, he's, you know, a great pass catcher. He's a real fine runner. And he fits in, as I said earlier, perfectly with this particular scheme.
People talk about, you know, he had a disappointing year last year. He had a very painful hip socket injury. He couldn't walk in many instances.
If you think these guys only play for money, he and Joe Montana got to escort Elizabeth Taylor at a publicity function here in San Francisco. It's more than bucks.
Well, you know, the unfortunate thing about injuries is the public never realize how bad an injury is. And they just want you to play. Sometimes the coaches want you to play, and they go and look at your stats, and they really make you feel bad because you can't always play when you're hurt.
Because of the hold, it's 2nd and 20. And Joe Cribbs, number 28, is in there with Rathman. Cribbs in motion. Gets it down to the 41-yard line.
Dwight Clark.
Clark with those sure hands.
That's catch number 500 for Dwight Clark.
And listen to the crowd. And they sent him back in the ball game. He came into this game needing only 41 yards to beat Gene Washington with more than 6,600 career yards. He has had quite a career in San Francisco. 3rd and 9. And now Joe Montana doesn't like something he sees and wants a timeout with 2:46 to go in the half. And he'll go over and talk to Bill Walsh.
Not a wasted timeout there, Jim.
No, it happened with Kozar because 3rd and 9 is very valuable. You've got to have everybody on the same track, and it's better to call the timeout at that time.
We're talking about the front office before on the San Francisco 49ers. Eddie DeBartolo, as we mentioned at the top, hails from Youngstown, Ohio, commutes to the games every week, San Francisco game, comes from the richest family in the NFL. Forbes 500 had DeBartolo's family in at $1,025 million and has the highest payroll of any NFL team in terms of all kinds of incentives and all the figures involved. And I believe that Eddie DeBartolo is going to put in a bid for the San Francisco Giants. I think he wants to buy the Giant baseball team.
Jim told me something before the telecast, the way that rich people talk about money. How do they describe it?
I forgot.
What, units? Was that
Oh,
it?
yes, units. But you know what's great about him? He's sharing it. If he's the highest paid, if he has the highest paid team, it's all right for him to be a billionaire.
You never see any holdouts on the 49ers, or rarely. Eddie DeBartolo will not allow that. In fact, he signed his two number 1 picks and a number 2 within 3 days. That's rare in the NFL.
Has he won 2 Super Bowls?
That's right.
Happy players will win a Super Bowl, especially when they have talent and money.
Money talks. By the way, DeBartolo's wife took out a full-page ad for Eddie to wish him a happy birthday, USA Today last week. $45,000 for a full-page ad. That's some birthday card.
Most of us get those 85-cent varieties. 3rd and 9. The split part to the left. Rice is to the near side. Clark is open. Touchdown 49. He has caught passes for yards more than anyone else who has ever worn a 49er uniform.
Joe Montana now has had 6 3-touchdown games. We're not even at the halfway mark of this one. And a coming out party for Dwight Clark tonight.
And boy, was he wide open. Hanford Dixon was in the neighborhood, but that was about it.
Clark, by the way, told me if we get a chance to plug his restaurant, Clark by the Sea, they'll be toasting a few tonight, perhaps.
Oh, yes.
Wersching converts, and the 49ers are on top 21-10.
What happened to the Dogs tonight, Jim? So far, Dixon and Minifield have been, 3 touchdowns, burned somewhat.
Well, what has happened, Roy, is that the 49ers have scouted the Browns very well. They're using everybody in their offense. They're using Rathman. They're using Clark. They're decoying with Rice. They're using Rice. They have the fakes up the middle. They have the handoff. Those 8 yards that you said that Craig has is very valuable because it's not the amount of yards, it's the fact that they are being that diversified.
And Rice is still effective, too, with 2 touchdown catches tonight.
Oh, yes.
One thing that we should not lose sight of for Joe Montana is last year, on the 15th of September, he went into the hospital to have back surgery for a ruptured disc and to widen his spinal canal. Less than 2 months later, he started against the St. Louis Cardinals, threw 3 touchdown passes, and was named the NFC Player of the Week. His surgeon said he was crazy, and most everyone else just wondered how he could possibly do it.
And they're still questioning this man's ability in San Francisco?
Yeah, doesn't that strike you a little funny?
Unbelievable.
A lot of people are saying, hey, Steve Young's the quarterback of the future. Well, as George Allen used to say, the future is now, and it's Joe Montana.
Exactly.
By the way,
for 210 yards, rushed for another 28 in the first half.
Worth noting that in the last 3 years, if Joe Montana gets at least 2 touchdowns, the Niners win 90% of the time. He's got 3 tonight.
He and Jerry Rice going over either what has happened or what they would like to happen next time. Gerald McNeil is deep to receive. We have 2:39 to go in the half, and at this rate, they may have to change the light bulb in the scoreboard. McNeil from the 14. He is exciting. Gets it out to the 35-yard line, and Kozar will have 2:28 to work from there. Later tonight, we've got Iowa against Villanova in the Maui Classic Final, live from Maui. And that's, of course, NCAA basketball, Dr. Tom Davis. And tomorrow, a doubleheader. First game, number 2 Purdue against Illinois State, followed by the Great Alaska Shootout Final. Number 1 Syracuse, number 1 because the polls haven't come out again. They were beaten by North Carolina. And then you've got more college basketball Tuesday. Notre Dame against number 6 Indiana. As always, ESPN loaded for bear in the NCAA. Kozar under pressure from Carter. Got it out to Byners. Corey Nixon takes him out of bounds. Nixon is a defensive back in there in that nickel package. Former high draft choice of the Redskins. Didn't work out there.
You're down 21-10, Jim. You got to get, I imagine, some kind of score going into the intermission for the Browns.
Yeah, but you got to take your time. You got to stay with your offense. You got to work at it. You don't necessarily have a big play offense. You don't panic at this particular time.
Completion of Langhorne. This one up to about the 43. Plenty of time left. There's 2:10 to go in the first half. Kozar now 10 out of 13, 135 yards. Good half for quarterbacks.
That's a hurry-up offense in there now. They'll take the 2 minutes.
Trying to get the playoff, but they didn't do it. So we have the 2-minute warning here in San Francisco. An exciting first half of this ball game. The 49ers 21, the Cleveland Browns. Jackson and Pete Axtell. Roy Firestone and Jim Brown will discuss the NFL running backs and its changing of the guard. But we've still got 2 minutes to go here in San Francisco, and the Browns have it at their own 44. Kozar sides that one to center. 4-man rush and pressure. He got out of there and got it away to Brennan at the San Francisco 43. Jeff Fuller on the coverage, 13-yard gain for Kozar. Boy, both of these guys can just pick you apart.
He looks pretty mobile out there right now. What do you say, Roy?
Yeah, he's moving the ball real well, running with the ball.
Sidearm is working, too.
Gets it to Webster Slaughter. Slaughter down to the 32-yard line. He's tripped up by Tom Holmoe.
Mike, that was a slight adjustment. In other words, they brought a man. Slaughter had to look right in. He had to make the slant.
Here it is. You see the replay here.
Browns have taken a timeout.
They're both going up over the middle. That's Brennan in front of him.
That's the kind of play where the quarterback has to see what's going to happen, and the receivers
they
have
both
to
have
too.
to see.
Yeah.
And that's what happened in a complicated offense. They both have to read, and they have to make the right move.
That's why so often fans will not be able to understand why an interception occurs, because there won't be a receiver anywhere in the vicinity, because the quarterback assumes he's going over the middle, he goes out, and there's no one home.
The toughest thing is to get the receiver to understand all of those sight adjustments.
And then to get him to run over the middle.
Yeah, that's true. And footsteps. Tim Brown, Notre Dame, I think he heard some footsteps last week.
Yeah, he did. But Slaughter does it. I mean, Slaughter goes over the middle as well as anybody.
Courageous young man.
1st and 10. They'll go with 4 wide receivers. Still plenty of time left, 1:29. Cozart deep sideline. Oh, Weathers couldn't hold it. Tim McKyer on the coverage. Weathers got turned around a little bit. And there's a receiver a lot of his teammates would like to see in the ballgame a lot more.
Nobody can cover this guy in practice. He averaged 28 yards a catch, as you mentioned before, Mike. Great speed, great moves, great hands, but unfortunately has a difficult time applying it on the field. He had the man beat, Jim.
Yes, he did. The ball was right there from this angle.
Weathers feels that he is in Marty Schottenheimer's doghouse and has been there for quite a while. Doesn't participate in off-season conditioning. He has his own business. Blitz on 2nd and 10. They get it out to Biner. Great call. And Biner gets it down to the 21-yard line where he's covered by Don Griffin.
I love the move he made inside of the block.
I think you heard me say that, Roy. Yes, you're right. You saw a good move. He allowed that block to take place.
And Paul Farron threw the block on the screen. Cozart with great vision going deep. Brennan, touchdown Cleveland. We got a football game, folks. Yes, sir. Brian Brennan is perfectly suited to Lindy Infante's system. He runs precise routes. He knows what the offense is supposed to do, and he does it.
Roy, you going to explain this to us?
It just looks to me he flat out beat his man foot speed, and he's not particularly fast here.
Well, let's take a look at it.
That's number 49, Jeff Fuller.
Well, I think what happened, I think the safety didn't do his job. Seemed to be a little lazy and a little soft going after.
Jaeger will try the point after. He's got it, and the Browns have brought the excitement back in the point after with their holding problem.
12 men on the field. Defense. Extra point is good. 5-yard penalty on the succeeding kickoff.
There are the Bones. The Bones are back in the field. The Brown fans are back alive in this game. Looks like single coverage here, Jim.
It does look like single coverage?
Think so. Right there, Fuller.
Well, look. Well, we can't really see it on as far as what we could see in single coverage, but I don't know why Fuller would be back there.
I think you were right about the safety. It looked like he was a couple steps slow getting over to help out.
Yeah, I think it was some indecision on his part.
Brian Brennan out of Boston College, 4th-round draft choice in 1984.
They call him Howdy Doody, by the way, and he is one of Buffalo Bernie's favorite targets, I think. You know, he was unhappy as a rookie. In fact, a lot of the former Browns tell me that he is a little insecure at times in terms of how people feel about him as a receiver. Feels he should get his due and feels he should be respected as one of the premier receivers in the AFC.
Well, Roy, that doesn't happen in Cleveland because you've got about 7 guys who can catch the ball. And it helps because all of them can catch the ball, so it means your diversified offense can be very effective.
You got to sublimate that ego again.
Yeah, they have to make those sacrifices. And Kozar will throw it to anyone. That makes for a better offense.
They do spread it. I think as many as 9 guys have caught balls in recent weeks.
Last scoring drive cut the lead to 4, took 66 yards. There was not a 3rd down play in that drive.
Boy, he's right down the field. What a master.
And let's see what the 49ers can do with the remaining time on the clock. There's 51 seconds to go in the half. Jaeger will kick out to Sidney and Cribbs. Sidney at the goal line. Still on his feet at the 25, and that's it. Grayson is in there on the stop along with Tim Manoa out of Penn State. Coming up next Sunday, NFL Game Day starts at 11:30, and your hosts, Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, and Pete Axtell will be back for NFL Primetime at 7 o'clock Eastern. Then we have the Bears and the Vikings from the Metrodome, and Roy and I will be there with Ed Marinaro. And Chicago won today. Minnesota, of course, won on Thanksgiving over Dallas in an exciting overtime ballgame. 49ers from the 25. The number's on Bernie Kosar. Joe Montana has been better than that. Craig on the running play. Craig gets out of bounds to stop the clock as he reaches the 38-yard line. Driven out of bounds by Clay Matthews.
They want to sit on it here, Jim, or they think they can get some more points with 30 seconds left?
Well, they're going to be a little secure, but they have a couple of plays that if Cleveland goes to sleep, they can break one.
And this is not a risky offense anyway. I mean, they can throw a lot of safe
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. They're not going to do too much in their own territory to take any kind of chance to get behind before the half.
Dwight Clark flanks left. Jerry Rice comes to the right. Montana with 3 touchdown passes in the first half. Wants a screen. Wrapped. And Cleveland did a great job of getting through the screen of blockers out there. Mike Johnson and Lucius Sanford messed up the play.
Screen's pretty safe. You know, if you break it, you got something. If you don't, you know, it's a pretty safe kind of thing to do.
Now it looks like they may just let it go. I don't know. 12 seconds.
Joe Montana in no hurry, and the Browns with 1 timeout left apparently are willing to let him run it out. So discretion is the better part of valor in the last 10 seconds of the first half. And here before a sellout crowd in Candlestick, Marty Schottenheimer and Bill Walsh will plan strategy for the second half. It's 21-17 San Francisco, and now let's go to the studio and Chris.
That running game a little bit more than they have so far. They ran the ball well first quarter. They have to get back to that. Montana and company, I don't think they need to change a thing right now.
No, doesn't look like it. You know, on primetime, we talked about a player that may come up awfully big on defense and would have to for them to win for the Niners, and that's Ronnie Lott. And we take a look at him, and he was involved very, very early. It didn't work out that well for him, but he made the effort.
Well, it was too bad for the 49ers that they didn't get the ball back. Ronnie Lott does a great job here of not only making the tackle, but he gets his hand on the ball, he feels it, and he rips it out. He has amazing strength in his upper body. Of course, here the 49ers don't get the ball back, ends up in a touchdown for the Browns, but most times you're going to get the advantage if you dig that ball out the way Lott did.
I think a lot of people who have watched yours truly on ESPN for a while know I'm a connoisseur of Bill Walsh and Joe Montana football, and I think that anybody watching the first half can understand why one could be that way, because they really seem to rise to the occasion with game plan and execution, too.
Well, I tell you, Montana carries out Walsh's game plan perfectly. And I think that's awfully hard to do because we all know that he's a genius on the football field.
There was one fake in particular, the play involving Tom Rathman, that it took the Browns about 6 seconds to figure out where the ball was.
Well, you see all the subtleties here of Montana's game. The great fake and misdirection, he puts the ball on his hip. In fact, I think not a lineman for the Browns knew where the ball was until he was outside the pocket. The left end, in fact, goes down beyond the center before he realizes that the ball's behind him. Then he shows the great touch here to Rathman. He gives him the ball, gives him a chance to catch it, see upfield, have a chance to turn on that blazing 5-flat speed that he has and run over the defender. Defenders hate to see a guy that size running with the football getting a 10-yard start. And here you see the great Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice he has very subtle moves. What he does here, he goes down the field, he stays about on the numbers. They're playing double coverage, trying to cover half. The defender gets his feet turned the wrong way, and once Jerry Rice sees that, he turns it on. Montana delivers the ball on time, ends up in a touchdown.
You know, it is a game, I think, and there is Rice again as you see him go to the flag, and it is a touchdown as Jerry Rice and Montana have hooked up twice. Montana with 3 touchdown passes, 7th time this year. You know, it is a ball game in which I think, Pete, you got a lot of rooks, not too many pawns, a lot of rooks, bishops, and knights, huh?
I think it's a game, if you happen to miss the Kasparov match against Karpov, if you were unable to attend the auction of Bobby Fischer memorabilia, watch this game. Stick with the second half. You got Lindy Infante's offense against Bill Walsh. You got Montana against Kozar. These are a lot of minds at work here. Forget the physical for a minute and appreciate the intellectual, just like you appreciate the show. Appreciate the intellectual aspects of it.
As we hope everybody does. It is fun, isn't it? The Niners lead the Browns 21-17 at halftime at Candlestick Park. We'll be going back.
Candlestick in San Francisco. And the halftime stats, it has been a wide open offensive game. A great evening for Joe Montana and for Bernie Kosar. Look at the passing statistics and look at the yards. Not much in the rushing department, and only the one turnover in the ball game. Time of possession is pretty close.
Well, what happened to the Browns secondary, Jim? It looks like it's, pretty porous.
It isn't just a matter of the secondary. It's a matter of the overall team defense. It's very hard to deal with one of these multi-level offenses. And unless your scouting report allows you to prepare for it, it's always going to be difficult. It has nothing to do with the athletic ability.
Our halftime show here was dogs chasing Frisbees. The way the first half turned out, it's been dogs chasing San Francisco receivers.
Yep. You guys are full of puns, brother.
Gerald McNeil standing at his own 1-yard line. Worship. And McNeil will take it from a 4. They contain him rather well, and Rathman down on kickoff coverage makes the tackle as he crosses the 25, and now Rathman has something to say to McNeil.
Mr. Rathman is all over the field tonight, I mean to tell you.
Well, he's glad to be playing.
Yeah. Here's what both teams were able to do in the first half. The Browns went 4 plays and a touchdown the first time they touched the football. They had another scoring opportunity on their second drive, but missed a field goal. Then a 12-play drive that did result in a field goal for their 10th point. Then they had to punt for the first time after only a 4-play drive, and then a touchdown. There hadn't been a lot of defense. Of course, that's a credit to both of these offenses because the defenses of both clubs are both highly rated.
Exactly.
Biner is the single back. Excuse me, Biner is in motion. Mack the single setback. And Mack has the ball. A nice little seam there and got it up to the 36-yard line.
You shift your emphasis now, Jim. Do you stay on the ground as opposed to the way it was in the first half?
No, you don't stay on the ground. They've had no problem moving the ball. You're going to mix it up. You're going to keep mixing it up. You want that run to support the pass. You want to throw the short ones to keep them spread out. And you want to hit them with that long one when they're too spread out.
Haley made the tackle on the last play. He's a guy they like to line up anywhere. 2nd and 3 after Mack gained 7. And that was a busted play. Kosar went back and looked for Mack, and for Bernie Kosar, with that lack of foot speed, you got to get a lump in your throat in a hurry.
Well, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about the option there, not the option, but he probably checked that off. If you watch it, he knew exactly what he was supposed to have happen. Someone didn't know, and I don't think it was just a mistake. I think it was an audible that someone did not pick up.
And that someone was obviously Kevin Mack.
And that's what you'll always find in a complicated offense.
Yep. So now it's 3rd down and 3. Biner is the setback. They go with 4 wide receivers. Sort of telegraphed that screen, and Fagan got out there in a hurry to make the tackle on Biner.
Got a flag on the play, too.
Kosar pumped it. There is a flag down. And it's a hold against Cleveland, and I think against Cody Rison because he was the one barking at the referee a little.
49ers decline it.
Holding number 63 offense.
Oh, you're right.
Penalty decline. 4th down.
Well, the Browns will have to punt it away. George Winslow will kick. Winslow in his 4th game as the Browns punter. And he has not had the greatest average in the world. They got rid of Gossett. And Dana McLemore standing at his own 25. Winslow, a rookie out of Villanova. A bit of a high snap. Pretty good kick. McLemore, 22. And only got 2 yards on the return after a 43-yard George Winslow punt. And here's how the 49ers were able to do in the first half, as Joe Montana just had a brilliant first 2 quarters of play after that initial interception on a pass over the middle. Next time he got the ball, 5 plays and a touchdown. They had to punt on the next possession, but after that, it was offense at its best. 8 plays and a touchdown and 4 plays and a touchdown for the 49ers. Their last drive stopped by halftime. first and 10. Clark and Rice, the wide receiver. And Rathman, who was the leading receiver in the first half, gets it again, driven out of bounds to 30. Knocked out by David Grayson, and there is another penalty flag down. Preliminary signal holding against the 49ers for illegal use of hands.
They could probably call holding on every play these days, couldn't they, Jim?
Well, with the new technique of blocking, of course they could, because you're using your hands now. It's a matter of a subjective situation.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 79 offense. Still first down.
Jim, when you played, it was line play was all so much technique, angles and things like that. How would is it better for a running back with the new systems that they have now? Just lock out your arms and push.
Yes, it's a little easier to push than it is to block.
Montana pressured out of the pocket. Throws for Rice. Rice couldn't get his feet down. Great diving grab, but couldn't drag the toes across the sideline. Minifield on the coverage. And the Browns' defensive backs have not been talking a whole lot lately.
You know,
Well,
some of the best
sorry,
thing,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, the best thing about Rice is even on plays where he's not catching the ball, and that's debatable, I might add.
Looked like he got him down, didn't it?
He is showing such miraculous balance.
Well, let's take another look, Roy.
What do you think, JB?
Well, I think the 1 foot went out, Roy.
And now they will not let him run the next play. They'll send it up to the replay booth. And from the first angle that we saw, it sure looked like Jerry Rice got them both down.
First angle looked like he was in. The second angle looked like he was out. Good instant replay.
Well, let's find a third.
Remember, he has to hold on to the ball here.
Right foot is down. He already has the ball, and the left foot is down. That's a catch.
There it is. But on the other angle, it's harder to tell.
That is a catch, folks.
See.
He's got the ball. His right foot still touching, I believe. The other angle, to me, is the best one. It really shows that he had both feet down.
Well, I really don't have to decide, Mike.
By instant replay, it is confirmed. The ball was bobbled. Second down.
So it wasn't the feet?
We were looking at the wrong thing, huh?
That's right. We should have been looking at the ball.
Now, the crowd didn't like the call. Neither did Bill Walsh. But it means the 49ers are facing a 2nd and 20 from the 14. Rice goes to the top of the screen, Clark to the near side. So they dump it off to Craig. Slips one tackle, slips a second. Still on his feet, dragging people to the 29-yard line. Finally brought down by Felix Wright. Rathman threw him a good block.
Beautiful run. Just beautiful run.
Gain of 14 on the play. It'll bring up a 3rd and 6. Walsh has got that list of plays. And, of course, he's got that list where he comes out and runs those plays regardless of the situation. He likes to have things planned as well as possible. Good formula. Fred Quillen, who was in there for the injured Randy Cross. Montana again avoids the pressure. Going to try to run for it. Got it. And got out of bounds. And Dwight Clark did a good job of protecting him at the sideline. 13-yard gain for Montana.
You know what I don't understand? I don't understand why most coaches don't like mobile quarterbacks. Because I know the defensive linemen hate them because that extra element not only wears you out, it confuses you and nullifies you a lot of times when you're going after the passer.
I guess Montana, you have to be so concerned about containing him, you really just can't let loose and go after him.
Exactly.
1st and 10, 49ers, their own 41. Montana to right. To the Cleveland 42-yard line.
Jerry Rice, the explosion at the point of the snap is what gets him going. We talked to Jerry about it. Here's what he had to say.
My first 5 steps are my most important steps because they're so fast, and that really helped me to break down the cushion of the defensive back and once I break his cushion now, I feel like I can do whatever I want to.
Jerry Rice, 4 catches, 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has 13 for the season. Craig.
Matthews wanted to take that ball out of the zone.
No doubt about it. Now, Roy, if you watch the play that Rice caught the ball on, you heard him talk about the first 5 steps, a quick explosion. Well, when you have that fake into the line and it's a good fake, it holds the eyes of the defensive people for just a second, which gave them the opportunity to catch that ball.
Bob Golick got in on that last tackle.
Now, this is what Jim was talking about a moment ago. Just that moment, that little hesitation got him up over the middle.
Exactly.
Second down, 5 yards to go for the 49ers at the Cleveland 38. Montana, look out. He was decked by Grayson, who came from the backside and dropped him. Talking about Bob Golick a moment ago, a lot of people are saying he's had an off year, but the Browns have switched up their defenses a lot. They play a lot of different fronts, and Golick often comes out on passing situations, so his sacks are way down, but they still feel he has played very well.
A lot of times when you have a team effort and you have a great team, a lot of people's statistics are going to go down. A lot of times when you have a lousy team, you'll have 1 or 2 guys with great statistics because you have a lousy team.
And that's a problem just looking at stats.
Exactly.
3rd and 11 after the sack. Dumps it off to Frank, the tight end, and he's got the first down inside the 30. And he punished a couple of people and pushed by Felix Wright, and the Browns are a little testy back there now.
This is a physical move here. The other end of it, Frank starting it off, working on number 37, that's Chris Rockins, who stays with him the entire play. Big, strong tight end out of Ohio State. Gets the first down.
And he gave Hanford Dixon a whack as he crossed the 30. 49ers up by 4, bidding for more. Nice fake, and they give the play. Doesn't turn out for much, but great ball handling by Montana.
They read it out real nicely, though. Mike Johnson, the linebacker, came up, made the play. But
You know,
good fake to set it up.
When a guy like Roger Craig makes about 2 yards there, didn't get caught in the backfield, that's a great move that a lot of people don't pay attention to. So what he did is he dropped and he split the tackle. And that allowed him to get some valuable yardage, although it was only 2 yards.
2nd and 8. We have 8:50 to go 3rd quarter. Rathman tripped up that time.
We're talking before about Bob Golick, a guy they call Mad Dog, the nose tackle. He says playing the nose tackle is kind of like being the fire hydrant in the dog pound of life. He said, he's very quotable. He said of steroids, they'll never ban steroids in the NFL. It'll never happen because if they ban steroids in the NFL, the next year the offensive linemen will be playing the indoor soccer league, and they'll be all shriveled up like raisins.
3rd and 7. Rathman. They go with the run play, get it down to the 21. Clay Matthews almost took his head off. He did manage to get the helmet off, and Rathman doesn't like it. Ray Wersching will come on to try the field goal. That would increase the lead to 7. Now, it's one thing to be talking to a lot of guys, Jim, but when you're giving up 21 points in the first half and they're running all over you, when does the talk stop?
What happens in a great football game like today, you don't really have time to talk.
Wersching, a 39-yard attempt. And one of the most accurate kickers in the history of the National Football League is on target from 39. And the 49ers have taken a 7-point lead over the Cleveland lead in their division. And Ray Wersching, the kickoff to Gerald McNeil. This taken by one of the up men at the 15-yard line. Back to the 28, and that was Herman Fontenot who took it on the left side. And the drive went 55 yards, and Wersching capped it off with a 38-yard field goal to give San Francisco that 7-point lead.
Okay, Bernie's going to go to work now. What are we looking for?
Well, actually, what we're looking for is the same thing he's done before, because they really haven't stopped him. I mean, he's been very successful so far.
Mixing it up, all the different receivers.
Oh, yes. Mixing the run in.
Gil Brandt had a great line about Bernie Kosar. He said he reminds me of Larry Bird. You look at him and you don't think he can play, and then he kills you.
Can't hear him.
Mack. And Mack hit as he got to the line of scrimmage. Jeff Stover came up to nail him in a hurry. There is another penalty flag down. Kevin Fagan also went on the tackle as the ends converged in the middle. And it's a delay. They got it off in time because of that noise.
That's right. It seems as if someone talked to the 49ers crowd and told them what to do.
Please reset the stadium clock to 7:19. Please reset the stadium clock to 7:19.
Putting 6 seconds back on the clock.
Please reset the stadium clock to 7:19. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So this will make it 1st and 15 for Kosar. Back in his own 23. Larry Roberts is in on the San Francisco defensive line. Kosar sidearms one out to McNeil at the 30. McNeil wrapped up in a hurry. That's Torrey Nixon in on the nickel and dime package. And San Francisco has gone with a lot of defensive backs tonight. Of course, anticipating the attack of Kosar.
That Gerald McNeil blows me away. He is so tiny. You know, he's not a football player. He's an hors d'oeuvre. And this guy.
No, he's a running heart. He has nothing but heart.
Remember the flea, Walter Roberts? He used to play with him.
Same thing, long time ago.
4 wide receivers in there on 2nd and 6. Who's the other guy? Nolan Smith, little guy. Right up to the 47-yard line. Brennan made the catch and then got some extra yards out of it on the run. Tom Holmoe was in on the stop.
Brennan reminds a lot of people of Howard Twilley, the guy who used to play for the Dolphins, the guy who played for Tulsa. Small, slow, steady. But a guy that can make a play and break a tackle like that, pick up the first down.
And also a guy that knew to just fill in the seam, because I think they're in a zone defense at that time.
Spot the ball at the 48, 1st and 10 Browns. 4 wide receivers on 1st and 10. Finer. Ooh, what a big hole. San Francisco 40, 35-yard line. McNeil threw him a great block downfield.
140 pounds of him, too. This is great running.
This is good running.
Good running as opposed to great.
Yes, this is good running.
Okay.
Now watch the great blocking and watch the good running.
Okay.
Good moves, not exceptional. A lot of space out there. See that space? Okay, now right here is where a great runner like Dickerson would have gotten maybe 80 more yards.
Okay.
40 more yards.
Okay.
A few more yards.
Yeah, but he's wearing the right number, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Here comes the blitz. Now give it to Biner again. To the 30 to the 29-yard line, and Tom Holmoe made the tackle that time.
Hey, should they have retired number 44, Leroy Kelly's number? That's a question that had been asked.
Well, I don't think so. Kelly was a great back, but you can't retire all the numbers.
That's right. Well, number 32 is not on the field.
Yeah, we have to force him to do that. No offense, you know, Modell.
2nd and 5 for the Browns. Incomplete at the 20-yard line. Torrey Nixon did a good job on McNeil that time. Hit him just as the ball got there.
We see this one from behind Bernie. This is the way Bernie sees it. Downfield. Plenty of time to throw.
Yeah, Roy, they're making those deep curls. You got to hit just at the right time. A lot of times those defensive backs are going to do that to you if you don't pull it in on the first grab.
3rd and 5. 4 wide receivers. Webster Slaughter to the top of your screen. He's been quiet lately. Going for Slaughter this time, and he dropped it. Griffin was with him, but it looked like a catchable ball.
Definitely. Ball was thrown behind the defender. Slaughter came back to make the catch. And it apparently he had made the catch and then was hit just as the ball was going into his arms. But you'll see the ball slightly underthrown here deliberately.
Well, yes, because the defensive back had his back turned. But if you'll notice, the ball did hit the defensive man.
So good play in the defensive secondary.
Well,
Don Griffin.
A lucky play.
Yeah, that's right.
Secondary.
And the Browns have an injured player down near the goal line. And it's Clarence Weathers. Weathers, one of those guys, one of his teammates said he is simply the best receiver on this team. He doesn't get a lot of playing time. It looks like he'll go off under his own power. Back in a moment.
Think it's because of the bad snap before? They want to go for it, have a better chance of making the first than a field goal?
It makes a lot of sense. That's what happened 2 years ago when they went for it rather than land the field goal. Took a kick. You're not kicking good and you're not holding good. Hey.
Jaeger 1 of 2 on the night, so 4th and 5 they go. Kozar with plenty of time. What a catch by Brennan. Boy, Holmo was right there all over him, and Brennan just spun around and got it.
Looks like a good call now, Jim.
It's always a good call when it's successful, but I think the strategy was exactly right. Now, when you have a great quarterback, you need guys that can catch the ball like this.
He led the Browns in receiving all of his 3 seasons, did Brian Brennan. There's Lindy Infante, the genius for right now.
If they don't score the rest of the year, he's a genius.
Yeah.
1st and 10 at the 22, 4 wide receivers. They've done it a lot in the second half. Finer. Nice move. And then he ran over McLemore and got down to the 18-yard line, or Holmo.
Yeah, I'd like to have all of you take a look at this replay. The field must be a little slippery. It's coming up because the cuts are not as sharp as they should be. But what he did at the end of it was go forward, and that's the only reason he gained any yardage.
Biner, 6 carries for 38 yards. He has 28 here in the second half. Delay to Biner. Big hole up the middle. Flag is down. It's going to be a holding penalty as they get to the 10. And it looked like the center, Mike Babb, was the guilty party. They threw the flag right at him.
Just paralyzing you. You know, you get a big drive going like this. You watch the center of your screen. It's a tackle, basically, on the offensive lineman's part. Center of your screen, Babb. Watch it.
And a good tackle it is.
It's a good tackle. He shouldn't have held it that long. He had the first hit. Let him go. Let the back do it.
He's the lightest of the offensive linemen at 270, but even at 270, he'd be a dominating run blocker.
The lightest at 270.
Yeah.
Wow.
Times have changed, haven't they?
But those kind of backs can't pull, so you don't really do a lot of trapping or leading or anything like that, so you can't really run the ends like they did in the old days.
2nd and 15. Biner steps up to get the audible from Kozar.
Still can't hear.
5-man rush, and they block it. Almost picked it off. And number 94, Charles Haley, was the guy who got there right inverting Kozar's face.
And Kevin Fagan, the defensive lineman, almost came up with the interception on the block.
Mike, did you say he almost picked it off?
Fagan.
Yeah, almost.
Fagan did, too.
Well,
right here, 75 in the middle of
2 feet from that play, but it was a very good play to get it knocked down. But the ball did stay in the air a long time. It could have been picked off.
Yeah.
Good eyesight. That's what you meant,
Every
right?
once in a while. 3rd and 15 for the Browns. And the crowd here at Candlestick trying to fire up the defense. It's a screen to Biner.
Oh.
Hello, Keena Turner. He saw it coming and just sat out there and waited.
There's no question that he's down before the the disputes of the fumble, but it was a great play here by Tina Turner. Coming off his best game probably of the season last week.
Well, Roy, all he did was play his territory, and as he's responsible for that, he took it on and he made the great play.
And on 4th and 18, they will go for the field goal. Jaeger is on to try.
Let's watch the snap this time.
48 yards of Danielson's hold. They got it down. It's long enough, but it's wide. Jaeger only 1 for 3, and the 49ers defense holds. And with a minute 54, slips.
But the turf is bad, Roy. Believe me. It's slippery out there.
So the 49ers get a break, and they have it at the 30. Montana drops it off to John Frank. And the big tight end drags the tackler with him. And that's Grayson.
They're actually changing Jeff Jaeger's cleats on the sideline here. Does that help him try to get better footing?
You've got to get better footing because if you have a long field goal, you've got to plant, you've got to get more power, and when you're sitting on turf or hitting on turf that is soft, you're going to slip.
Yeah, but a pro is supposed to kick on any surface, right?
No, a pro can't kick on any surface. You can't kick on ice.
And there's not ice there. It's kind of slippery, but it's not exactly ice.
It looked like they're trying to put the longer cleats in there to give them a little bit better traction. 2nd and 2 after the 8-yard gain. Montana's had good pass protection tonight. Throws that one incomplete. And I think he intended to throw that one incomplete because Rathman was beautifully covered.
Getting back to that, Roy, you see, as a player, the subtle things hurt you. Everything is an exact science out there. If I'm a runner and the surface is soft, it takes away some of my skill. And it doesn't take very much to get a field goal kicker offline.
And you know because you kicked him.
Well, in high school, in college, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, of course, you did everything.
No.
You're in the Lacrosse Hall of Fame, too, folks. You don't realize that about you.
3rd and 2 for the 49ers at their own 38. Bray. And the Browns did a great job of stringing that one out. Mike Johnson eventually made the tackle, but the front seven really deserves credit for that.
Mentioned before, Lacrosse Hall of Fame. We just happen to have a photo of the lacrosse player Jim Brown at Syracuse. You got to be proud of that.
That's great. You guys have been on the case.
Were you the best lacrosse player ever? People say that.
I was a good lacrosse player, and I did make All-American. We did go undefeated. Now I guess I'm bragging, but that's good enough.
I suppose.
Good enough.
You're picking on all those little guys in lacrosse, right?
Yes. I was about 230 pounds.
Cleveland with a 10-man front. Flag is down as Runninger gets it off from McNeil, angling for the sideline. McNeil all the way back to the 20. Trying to get outside to the picket line. A flag is down. And McNeil gets it back to the 24-yard line. 42-yard kick, only a return to 3. He almost broke that one for 80, but there are flags down everywhere.
In fact, we got 4 flags on the field right now.
Well, they're going to have to...
This may take a while to sort out.
Illegal formation. Number 58 did not report as an eligible receiver.
Wow.
We have 2 illegal blocks. Number 81 and number 63 offsetting penalties. Replay the down.
We'll try it again.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're going to have to change the rule on the blocking for punts because there's nothing but penalties.
Takes away from the game.
It really does take away from the game, you know.
You got to
get a long run.
You got to do something to stop the clips, though, don't you?
Well, they're not really clips, you know. It's the definition of a different kind of block. You never had it in the old days. Definition of a different kind of block. What does that mean?
I don't know. You explain that to me. What do you mean by definition of a different block?
Well, they have come up with certain new rules for protection. And in protecting people, they have changed it into a penalty-ridden play.
Over-legislated.
Yes.
And most of those penalties are merely shoving somebody in the back, not clipping.
Exactly.
Runninger will try it again. Set a man in motion on the punt formation. And he's the one down there right in front of McNeil. Oh, was that a dandy-looking play by San Francisco's special teams? A 39-yard kick. And they did a good job because Sidney got away from the blocker and got right down in McNeil's face, right there. and McNeil had to make the fair catch.
And do you believe that the punter punted to that side of the field?
Yes, he did.
Is that Walsh again?
It's somebody on that coaching staff. Special teams ignored a lot by some teams, practiced very hard by others. Kozar, who was 14 out of 18 for 197 yards in the first half, only has 27 yards passing in the third quarter on 5 out of 8. Kozar trying to dump it off for Mack. And Mack's in trouble at the sideline. And that 49er defense has done a whale of a job here in the second half. Michael Walter chased him out of bounds on that one. And that is the second time Kozar has dumped the ball off and seemingly telegraphed it.
Mack made something out of nothing, too, because that play was slow in developing.
Well, fellas, that's an outlet. That's a safety valve out there. And you do that instead of getting sacked. So I think it was a great execution on both players' part.
All right, 2nd and 7. Four-man rush. Brennan again. That's the 31-yard line. He'll be shy of the first down. They'll mark it at the 32. Jeff Fuller on the coverage. And you can see the clock running down in the third quarter.
You notice when those receivers curl and they go right down to the ground, it's very smart because what they're doing is they're taking what they're getting. They're not trying to come all the way back and circle around and taking the chance of losing it, because in a controlled type of offense, you want to get the 5, get the 6, get the 7. Well-coached team.
That's the end of the third quarter of play from Candlestick and San Francisco. Hope you'll be with us next Sunday. We've got the Bears and the Vikings. Just to get you warmed up for that, be with us at 11:30 in the morning, Eastern time for NFL Game Day. Then NFL Prime Time at 7 o'clock. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, and Pete Axthelm. Then Ed Marinaro will be along with Roy Firestone and myself, and we'll bring you the Bears and the Vikings, who both won this week, and setting up a big clash in the NFC Central. 3rd and 2 for the Browns from their own 32. Kozar throws short, intended for Slaughter.
What about the play selection there, Jim? 3rd and 2 on a pass? Second guess it a little bit?
No, I wouldn't second guess it, because sometimes 2 yards is very difficult when you have a passing attack that has ball control, you know, with Kozar and that many receivers. Either way you want to go, it's just a matter of doing the job.
And still very early yet, beginning of the fourth quarter.
Winslow on to punt. Dana McLemore waiting inside his 30. Short kick. McLemore comes up, no fair catch. Somehow stayed on his feet, got out to the 36-yard line. A 1-yard return as Herman Fontenot was right there with him. A 33-yard punt from Winslow.
Now, he gets up slowly after taking this hit. You used to get up slowly, too. Why was that? You used to always get up slowly and walk back to the huddle slowly.
Well, of course, it was a great hit there. He stayed up, but I don't know how. I had to do it, Roy, you know, because, well, I would get back to it after this.
Okay,
play.
all right.
The bells may be ringing for Dana McLemore right now. Frank was in motion, and they'll throw to him. Little stutter step out there, and can't get away as Ray Ellis, the strong side safety, stayed right with him. The story from Candlestick Park in San Francisco, a lot of offense. The Browns, 304 yards. The 49ers, 334. And Jerry Rice had a great first half. Only 58 yards receiving, but 2 of those in that yardage, 2 were for touchdowns. Second and 7 for Joe Montana, just shy of his own 40. Over the middle to Rice. Rice to the 41-yard line.
Now he beats Minifield off the line, and Dixon comes up with what might have been a touchdown-saving tackle.
No doubt about it. He was accelerating at this particular time, and a couple more steps have been all over. That would be 4.6 speed for 6 points. So you can call it 4.6 speed if you want to.
There's that football speed again, huh?
No doubt about it.
1st and 10, 49ers up by a touchdown, trying to get a little breathing room. Montana all day to throw. Goes to John Frank. Frank gets down to the 35-yard line. Takes some punishment there from Grayson and Matthews.
Oh, what do we got here?
And John Frank thought he got a little bit too much of it.
Remember, on Friday they told us this was a very excitable young lad, Mr. Frank. Very intense.
Big enough. Catches the ball well.
He's been very active tonight. He's been all over the field. Now, what is Clay Matthews going to do here? This is... Now watch... Oh, look at that. See, that's what it was. He's twisting it around, yeah?
A little extracurricular activity.
2nd and 4. 2 tight ends in the ball game. Pregler remaining back, and he'll get it. A couple of linemen in front of it. 30, near the 29-yard line, and he is brought down by Al Gross, the strong safety.
Well, if we watch Roger Craig, we know he's a great receiver. He's a real fine runner. Watch the leg action. He's driving. They always teach you to keep the legs up there, but most players who run natural with low footwork cannot put their legs up there.
Rathman is back in the 49er backfield on 1st and 10. What a fine offensive show by San Francisco tonight. Rice, the 5, touchdown 49ers. In his less than 3-year career, Jerry Rice has had 3 touchdown pass nights. He has 3 tonight, 34 for his career. Do you believe it?
And no other 49 receiver has had more than 1 3-touchdown performance. Here it is again.
Boy, this man's running away from everybody off the line of scrimmage.
Beating Al Gross, the safety man.
You said yesterday he had an explosive speed off the line, and that's what's doing it.
Wershing converts. Rice, 6 catches, 107 yards, 3 touchdowns, and we've got a fight. Joe Montana, 22 out of 30. He has thrown 4 touchdowns, down by 14.
Dogs have been dogged by Mr. Rice tonight.
And Mr. Montana.
Another hat trick. Jerry Rice.
Gerald McNeil waiting at the 3-yard line. He really liked to break one for this club. And he can sure do it.
He has that ability right now to be very uplifting.
Yeah.
They could use something right now.
Wershing. High short kick. Taken by one of the up men at the 15-yard line. And that's Fontenot. And Fontenot with a nice return gets it out to the 36-yard line.
We were talking before about the value of a Jerry Rice. Every reception tonight, either a touchdown or a first down. In fact, this year, 85% of his catches have gone for at least a first down.
And tonight we're seeing the proper use of a superstar. Rothman is in the offense. Clark has been in the offense. Craig has been in the offense. Frank has been in the offense. And then you go to the superstar because you spread the field out and they cannot double team or work with Rice like they would normally.
6 defensive backs in there for San Francisco. 11:38, plenty of time left in the ball game. Kosar behind Brennan. And good coverage by Holmo, who was right with him. There is a flag down back at the 25 where Bernie Kosar was throwing the ball, and it's a penalty against the Browns, illegal use of hands. Haley was trying to put pressure on him.
Before the game, we were talking to Minifield and Dixon. I'll get that.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 63 offense. Still first down.
Hands to the face calls. That's on Cody Rising.
Talking about Minifield and Dixon, they said, you know, hey, we've seen guys like Jerry Rice before. Let's take a look at the penalty first, and I'll finish the thought. Here it is, Cody Rice at the top of your screen. I'll finish that thought after this play.
Ball's at the 25, 1st and 20. Show blitz. Come out of it. Kosar deep sideline, incomplete. trying for Langhorne, and Tim McKyer hit him at the sideline.
Frank Minifield told me, he said, listen, Jerry Rice is a great receiver, but we've faced greater receivers in the AFC Central. Ernest Gibbons, John Stallworth, Eddie Brown. He's just another receiver to us.
What was our answer to that, Roy?
You haven't seen him yet, basically. This guy has put on a show tonight.
No one's having a season that's close to his right now.
That's right.
Bernie Kosar has only passed for 35 yards in the second half. The 49ers defense has done a great job. Kosar trying to get out of the pocket. Throws. Brennan dropped it. Brennan was wide open. There is another flag down. So it wouldn't have counted anyway, but you're not going to be able to console Brian Brennan with that. And they gave you a tripping signal. Somebody got leg whipped back here.
Brennan's had a couple of crucial drops tonight. He's made some good catches, too.
Number 70 offense, still second down.
Larry Williams, the left guard, called for a trip.
That stuff just kills him.
Well, now it's 2nd and 30. This is when the coaches don't want to send in plays.
They used to call it second down and a cab ride.
Yeah. 6 defensive backs in, and that is what Kosar and Montana have done respectively in this half. Kosar out to Biner, got away from Nixon, got away from Haley. Oh,
what an effort.
Good move.
Biner got it out to the 34-yard line and all on his own.
Now that's what you call great running, Roy.
Here it is from the end zone, Jim. Tell me about it. Take me through this play.
All right, let's go through it. Little flat pass. Good move to the inside. Good move here. Really good move. Moved it upfield. Went back right and shows his flexibility, which is great.
Game 19, it's now 3rd and 11. Kosar going for the first down. It's going to be short as he got it out to Langhorne. But Langhorne, as he should do, came back from before the ball and ends up short of the first down sticks. That's a situation where I think the receiver has to be beyond the sticks before he comes back.
4th and 2 here. Now they're going to go for it.
Marty Schottenheimer keeps his offense on the field at his own 44-yard line. And they'll run, and they won't get it. Holy cow, what a gamble. Minutes and 4 seconds to go in this game. There is a flag now.
There's a flag. Let's wait for the flag, too. This could really impact it.
Yes.
Well, an unusual call, to say the least, with 10 minutes to go in the quarter, even though you're down by 2 touchdowns. Here's the call. Personal foul against the Browns.
All right, you want to second guess it now? Going 4th and 2?
I think
Still 10 minutes left.
I would have done the same thing.
You would have?
The problem here is that you probably gave it to a back who was tired. This
Just
guy
made that 19-yard run.
Just made that run, and he went at it a little lethargical.
They're calling for a measurement. I don't think it's even close.
No, it's not. It's a yard and a half shy. Keena Turner did a great job coming in and pulling down Biner. So San Francisco, with the penalty, will have the ball just outside the Cleveland 30 and a chance to put it away.
Number 44.
That call could come back to haunt Marty Schottenheimer. Left.
Dwight Clark goes left. Jerry Rice comes right. 2 tight ends also in the ballgame. Craig. Nowhere to go, and Mike Johnson, after the play, was strung out beautifully by Carl Hairston. And Marty Schottenheimer says that Hairston is just having a brilliant year, the kind of year that he had when he was an All-Pro with the Eagles back in '79.
Marty Schottenheimer, he'll bounce. Wonder if he did the right thing.
It's only right, Roy, when it works.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
That's right.
And not necessarily wrong when it doesn't.
That's right. 14 points down, why not? They got to look for a break here. It's got to be a fumble, interception, or something the defense has got to do.
And they'll go with the end around.
Joe Cribbs.
Turning it into a big play with Joe Cribbs, who was out on a wing.
Great play fake here by Montana, once again setting it up for Cribbs, who hasn't seen a lot of action of late. Beautiful.
Well, he hasn't seen a lot of action, but this is a very key play for them. Joe has the ability, not the same kind of ability he used to have, but he really stretches for it. He got everything he could get. That's all you can ask. That kind of contribution by a guy who used to be a #1 back. Pretty
Yes,
good.
He was. And it's old-style football, too, when you get up with the grass stuck in your helmet. Balls at the 20. They'll go with Rathman. A flag is down as Rathman got to the 14-yard line. Thrown in the area where you normally get holding. And we'll check it out for you. And it is a hold. Now, earlier in the year, the 49ers were trying Craig and Cribbs in there together. They weren't getting the kind of blocking that they wanted, and Craig was the fullback. They switched him to halfback, inserted Rathman in the lineup, and it's really worked.
Holding, number 56 offense, still first down.
That's because
Fred Quillen.
That's because Cribbs doesn't have the same ability.
Yeah.
He's on the way out.
And it happens everywhere. It's a shame to see it with the injuries that take away tremendous skills that these guys have coming into the league.
You can only play so long.
Yeah. First and 20 after the holding call. Nice shake by Montana. Dumped it to Rice. Look out. Already has 3 touchdown grabs forced out of bounds at the 12. That's going to be close to a first down for the 49ers. About a yard and a half shy. Oh, the play fakes just set up so much.
Yes, as we noticed, first play of the game, the play fakes are there. This guy Rice is like a gazelle. Eddie Robinson, a great coach at Grambling, said the Dallas Cowboys made a mistake because they said he couldn't run fast. He said at Mississippi Valley he was outrunning everybody, getting behind them, but I guess the Dallas Cowboys are smarter than Eddie Robinson.
2 tight ends in the ball game on short yardage. Rathman will not get the first down. The Browns did a nice job of wrapping him up that time.
Back to Jerry Rice for just a moment. You know, you try and take the bomb away, shut him down a little bit, and it doesn't succeed. In fact, going into this game, and I'm sure it's been improved upon tonight, his average yards per touchdown catch, 31 yards. You just can't shut him down. They've got to go into a zone full time against this guy. There's a big decision for Bill Walsh. What do you do? 3rd and 1.
Well, they've been able to get Rathman through there very well, and the clock now becoming a significant factor. We're under 7 minutes, and it's a 2-touchdown lead. Right now, they're in dead field goal range for Ray Wersching if it comes to that. Montana, quarterback keeper. He crossed the 10-yard line, which is what he needed to do for the first down. And the 49ers have been clicking on all cylinders tonight. The offense has played well the entire game. The defense has really been up to it in the second half.
Well, the defense has been up to it because the offense has kept the pressure on. And, you know, when you're a little behind, you got to play a little different game. But tonight, Montana and Walsh have put together an excellent game plan.
Fabulous play calling. And great fake into the line all night long.
First and goal from the 9. 6 minutes, 11 seconds left to go in the game. Cribbs. Got rolled.
Much traveled. He played in the USFL, played for the Buffalo Bills. Somebody said that he begged for more money in more cities than Jim Baker, but he came up and he hits pay dirt, so to speak.
That's
right there.
impossible.
Yeah.
Wersching for the point after. And the 49ers with an offensive explosion have taken a 38-17 lead over the Cleveland Browns. Glad you could join us on this Sunday night on ESPN. San Francisco has had the ball 4 times in the second half. They've scored on 3 of them. That drive, after a Browns gamble on 4th and short, failed. It went 31 yards, and Cribbs got the touchdown. McNeil hoping for a chance to do something with Georgian kicking off. And McNeil from the 12. Once again, San Francisco has covered the ice cube.
We talked about Cribbs not being the same back he was a couple years ago. Jim, when your skills were diminishing, and I don't know that they did too much, did you compensate for it in any way?
Roy, when my skills were diminishing, that's why I got out after 9 years. They weren't diminishing. But a guy like Cribbs has to do everything he can do to contribute, and he has to take his ego down, crank it down a notch, and he can come into a game and contribute like this, and that's the best he can do.
And he did.
And he did.
Cleveland in a whole lot of trouble, and 5:55 to get it done. Herman Fontenot is into the ballgame as a running back. We'll get the draw from Kozar. And McLemore obviously got to the 32-yard line. Excuse me, Holmo. Well, all the offensive genius of Lindy and Fonte doesn't help a whole lot when you're down by 3 touchdowns with 5.5 minutes left. Especially the way the 49ers have played defense in the second half. Kozar tried to get it outside that time to Fontenot, and he missed it.
You know, when you look at a defensive team like Cleveland, they're number 1, but when they don't have the pass rushers to put the pressure on a quarterback like Montana, and you have an offensive scheme like Walsh has put out there, it's a very difficult set of circumstances.
And remember, for all you Browns fans, Kozar's only 24 years old. He's got a lot of years left in his league. 3rd and 6. Throws complete to Brennan, who stayed on his feet, tried to get the first down, but only made it out to the 37. It'll be 4th down, and Michael Carter was on the stop, dropping back from his nose tackle position. And the Browns will kick it away on 4th down and 2.
Very impressed with the 49ers defense. And I wasn't going into the game, I might add. Thought there were a lot of holes defensively. They proved something to me tonight, I'll tell you that.
Winslow to punt. McLemore. Winslow really airs this one out. McLemore fair catch at his own 19. 45-yard kick, no return. 4:48 to go in the game. And the 49ers...
Dogs are broken tonight, at least tonight.
We have a new quarterback. Steve Young is in for the 49ers, and Bill Walsh wants to get him some work under game conditions. You can practice and study all you want, but you need to play. Russ Francis is in motion. And Young throws to Francis, a little short, he couldn't hold it. A flag is down. And Francis may have gone toward the line of scrimmage a little early. Francis in his 12th year out of Oregon.
Story goes that, as we see the call there, that Bill Walsh really wanted Francis to retire in the preseason, but he had an Achilles injury and couldn't do it. Couldn't force the retirement because of the injury. He's had 2 40-catch seasons back-to-back.
Guy's been a fine tight end for a long time. Better than average blocker, excellent hands. But as Jim said earlier, the end of the road comes for everybody sometimes.
Sure.
Young, the quarterback of the future for this ball club. Harry Sidney is in there as a running back along with Cribbs. And Sidney gets it on the delay. Fumble.
Browns have it.
And the Browns are going to get a touchdown out of this. David Grayson. David Grayson gets the touchdown with 4:34 to go. They're back within 14 points. Boy, and Young didn't want any part of that fumble, did he?
Well, I didn't quite see that. I'm not going to say anything yet.
No, the ball slipped out of Sidney's hands.
Well, it could have been stripped, Roy. It's the only kind of thing that you don't want to happen when you're ahead like this. Now you've got to think about it.
Yeah.
Grayson, a 17-yard kickoff return, and Young did try to get in there with a tackle.
Let's see if it's a strip. No, yeah,
Oh,
kinda,
yes.
yeah, kind of
The
popped
hand.
through, yeah.
They'll go for the point after, and the Browns are now back within 14 points with 4:34 to go.
Long shot, but they got a shot.
Yeah, you can turn off the engine off on the bus again. It's time to play a little more football.
You put Montana back in the game now, Mike? Jim?
I don't think I would put him back right now. I think that Steve Young needs to be in there at this time. I think it's going to be a difficult task for Cleveland, but we'll get a chance to see it.
Crazier things have happened in this game.
And that certainly wasn't his fault.
No, it wasn't his fault.
Montana, hoping he has finished his night, 23 out of 31, 342 yards, 4 touchdowns. Rice caught 3 of them. What a combination.
But what I'd like to point out, fellas, is that when you're running back and you're intelligent and you know the game situation, the first thing you want to do there is cover the ball.
Yeah. And Harry Sidney did not do that.
That's first. You run second.
Yeah.
There are times when you run first and you cover the ball second.
You never had a problem with fumbles, did you?
Well,
Not
I
really.
had my share. I had more than I wanted. I really never wanted to fumble, but I didn't have too many. I hope just to prove that out, Roy.
But you never missed a game in 9 years.
No, never missed a game in 9 years.
Of course, the question always comes up, who was the greatest running back of all time? For my money, it was Jim Brown, and if I had 2 guys to pick, it would be you and Gale Sayers. I think anybody'd love to have that backfield.
Well, let's say that we had quite a few great runners in the history of the game, all right?
All right.
Thank you, though.
You're very welcome. I know a lot of defensive backs would have voted for you, the guys who were counting cleat holes in their jerseys. Here comes the onside attempt from the Cleveland Browns. Bouncing ball loose, and it looked like the 49ers got it. It was close.
There's a flag on the field.
And Harry Sidney, you don't think he was happy to get that ball?
Yeah. Redeemed himself somewhat.
Check out the penalty. And Mr. Seaman will tell us what's going on.
Offside. Receiving team, number 24. Free kick.
And it's Harry
5-yard
Sidney.
penalty.
And they get
That's why he
another
was
shot
there.
at it.
That's why he was there on the play, because he was offside.
Well, if this keeps up, you're going to see goat horns growing through that helmet. He's
Well,
not a happy young man.
We're still a long way away from being back in this game, though, Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
But 2 bad plays in a row.
They will have one more shot. Remember, the ball's got to go 10 yards unless the defensive team comes up to get it. And Jaeger will tee it up again.
Sometimes they tee it up flat. This time it's straight up. Try to get a bounce on it.
Browns now showing a regular alignment, and now they'll shift. And the 49ers shift with them. One more time, and Harry Sidney went down and got it again.
The Harry
He
Sidney
says,
show.
This time I'm behind the line, and I got it.
Yeah. There's the man. We're talking about the Cleveland Browns. You know, the Browns have struck an anti-union pose of late. They've fired off a petition stating the union should be revamped and recently refused to meet with Gene Upshaw, the executive director of the NFL Players Association. What do you think of the job that Upshaw did in the midst of the strike, Jim?
Terrible.
Should he be
Worst
fired?
job. Well, I think they need to make a major, major change.
Steve Young, still the San Francisco quarterback. Harry Sidney, the lone setback. Sidney gets the carry off the right side, and he wrapped up the ball this time as he crossed the 50-yard line. Nobody was getting that one away.
Yes, he definitely thought about it.
What did you like about Upshaw's performance as the executive director?
He never really had the expertise, and he never got the expertise. He needed someone who understood that they probably should have threatened a lawsuit rather than talk about a strike. A strike has never worked in the National Football League.
SportsCenter follows this ball game. We hope you'll stay tuned for all the scores and the highlights. Cale Gardner and John Saunders will be with you. And the penalty is going to go against the 49ers.
Hands to the face.
Clock is
Number
stopped.
81 offense. Still first down.
Another hand to the face. That's called on Russ Francis. And you may be able to see it on the replay. Well, he got it in there twice against Clay Matthews.
No doubt about it.
And you might as well get your money's worth.
With that kind of blocking, you'll have a lot of that.
Yeah. So 1st and 18 back at the 41-yard line. Keep it on the ground with Cribbs. Stays inbounds and is wrapped up at the 44. Clock running, as you can see in the lower right-hand portion of your screen. And now the Browns will use a timeout to stop it. Jeff Briegel was in there throwing a block.
You got up real slow after every play. We talked about this before. Why was that? Was that out of design?
It was definitely out of design. First of all, you conserve energy. You don't get graded between plays. Secondly, if you get up slow every time, they never know when you're hurt. And when they know you're hurt, they try to hurt you worse. Also, psychologically, they get keyed up.
Sort of like the shell game out there. You never give them an idea what's going on.
Well, I don't know what the shell game is, but you're probably
a little
right,
deception,
Roy.
yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's right. There's a rumor that O.J. Simpson could be part of a group for a new Phoenix franchise in the NFL. Black ownership in the NFL.
Well, I think it'd be very symbolic. But as a
symbolic only?
Symbolic only, because right now to buy an NFL franchise, you have to be a guy like Barry Gordy or John Johnson. Have a lot of money, want to have some luxury boxes and play real well.
By the way, O.J. Simpson, part of a group led by Pat Magruder III, who was the son of the late vice president of the Buffalo Bills.
Is he going to get 51% of the franchise?
Well, as it stands now, O.J. says he would make a substantial investment, but no interest, he says, in running the club day to day. I guess substantial investment means a limited partner.
Well, we need someone like Gene Burroughs, who's now an agent, who was the general manager of the Houston Gamblers, who negotiated for Cribbs, and who brought in Kelly and also went down and signed Herschel Walker. That's the kind of guy we need. Active.
2nd and 15 with 3:50 to go. Young, the quarterback. Rathman back in there at fullback. Cribbs, the tailback. Cribbs has it, and a loose ball. 49ers got it back at the 43-yard line. Do you believe that?
Bills.
Carl Hairston wrapped him up. The ball came loose.
I know what is running through his mind right now. Here it is from behind once again. Cribbs. You're amazed, though. You know, all you have to do is really hold on to the football. I guess it sounds easier than it is.
Yes, it does.
But
Harris Barton, the offensive tackle out of North Carolina, made the recovery. And there's another stoppage of the clock. Second timeout for the Browns with 3:39 to go. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. Would that have been a big play to get it back with 3:39 to go in 49ers territory? They would have still had 2 timeouts left, chance to score in a hurry, and they're only 1 touchdown behind.
Then you might have seen Montana back.
Yep, along with Craig.
talk about black upward mobility in the NFL. Why haven't we seen a head coach in your mind? Is it just blanket racism, or there's something behind that, too?
It's economic nepotism. People look out for their own.
Cronyism?
A lot of isms. I can't get into all of them now, but I think we'll see that soon.
Have you ever been interested in being part of a group to buy a franchise?
No, not really. I don't want to do anything symbolic. I think that you have a lot of qualified people. Bobby Mitchell can be a general manager.
Yeah.
You make him a general manager of Washington. He was the first guy that integrated the league. He integrated that team when he was traded from Cleveland.
Tank Younger with the Rams?
Yes, I guess Tank is with San Diego now.
Right, I'm sorry, San Diego.
You have a lot of qualified men. Willie Brown, Tony Dungy.
3rd and 15 right here for the 49ers from their own 44. And Young wants to throw. Throws over the middle, complete to Rathman, close to the first down. A flag is down late. They're pointing at Bubba Paris, and it's very close to a first down.
Incidentally, an NFL record tonight for Bubba's on the football field. There's the call.
And Bubba was downfield a little too far on that one.
That's
and
right.
when you're 6'6", 306, a little tough to hide out there.
Cannot hide.
Bubba Paris, Bubba Gross, Bubba Baker. 3 Bubbas on the football field. The former record,
Ineligible downfield, number 77 offense.
the former
Still
record,
third down.
1967, when Bubba Bean was hit by Bubba Smith. Isn't Bubba a ridiculous name for a human being?
Not if you're from the South, it's not.
Bubba. Sounds like my grandmother.
A lot of Billy Rays and Bubbas down there.
Yeah, I don't tell these guys that Bubba is a ridiculous name.
Well, I tell you, I thought you were using Rice so much at the top, using those strange jokes you had, but it proved to be exactly right. So maybe this Bubba thing is going to be the same
That's
thing.
right. That's right.
3rd and a quarter mile. And they'll go with the delay. Rathman wrapped up. Mike Johnson's had a fine ball game for the Cleveland defense. And this will bring up 4th, and they stop the clock with 2:56 to go in the game. That is the last Browns timeout.
Mike Johnson's a guy that majored in architecture at BPI. Very bright man. People say, well, did he cross the picket line? His mother is the head of research for the AFL-CIO headquarters. What do you think? I got a feeling that maybe he was pro-union in this equation. Academic All-America, broke his finger, but that will not deter him from book reading, folks, because you've got to study with pain, right? He's a nice kid, terrific kid, Mike Johnson.
You have a very interesting situation right now. The Browns' special teams is every man is over at the sideline. The 49ers have had some significant block kicks.
Yep.
And they may be coming after Max
sure they will.
Runninger.
I'm sure they will.
And he had one blocked in a big loss to New Orleans. New Orleans, the chief rival of the 49ers in this division. So Runninger's job, if they do come, is just to kick it and get it out of there. And Gerald McNeil will go deep. He hopes he doesn't see it, and if he does, he hopes he can break one. Kozar just keeping it loose on the sideline. There's still a chance. You never give up. And the Browns with a 10-man front. Quick snap, and Runninger got it out of there.
No flag.
McNeil, fair catch, 28-yard line. Browns gave it a shot, but Runninger did his job. He got it out of there, and he got it out to 38 yards. So we have 2:49 left in the game. The Browns still need 2 touchdowns.
There it is one more time. Came real close to having this kick blocked, but no flag. Roughing the punter on this move.
Derek Tennell almost got there.
Reserve tight end.
The kicker right here should do a little action. He did get his foot. In fact, he fought to stay up. Most guys would be rolling over and over on the ground.
Kozar with no timeouts. Got to get it done in a hurry. Dumps it out for Fontenot. Fontenot trying to get out of bounds, does. Nice job at the 33, but only gained a couple. Don Griffin was trying to hang on.
Fontenot did his job.
Yeah.
Get out of bounds, stop the clock, no timeout.
Schottenheimer likens Fontenot to Marcus Allen. You wonder why he doesn't play more then. He thinks that much of the guy.
Well, Marcus Allen might not be playing as much as he wants to right now.
That's right.
Numbers on Kozar for the night. Kozar's got to run for it, trying to get out of bounds, then turned it upfield and got the first down.
All right, Bernie.
A dandy run from Bernie Kozar.
Well, you know what's interesting on that? He could have looked downfield because the receiver slipped behind the defensive man, but it seems that he was really trying to get the first down and get out of bounds.
Yeah.
Can't second guess, Bernie.
2:33 left. Really, 2 of the premier teams in pro football right now, the Browns and the 49ers, and even with this loss, Cleveland will have the lead in its division, and you can bet they'll be in the playoffs. And they're not out of this one yet. Kozar in trouble, got it out to Fontenot. Griffin did a good job of trying to keep him in bounds. Look at Fontenot. Oh, what a great job of getting out of bounds. That's just wanting to more than the other guys want to keep you in.
Let's see where after he catches the ball, this little physical effort. Good desire here, Jim.
Yeah, first of all, the guy is putting everything into it. He has been coached real well because he knows what to do. We like to see players who maybe isn't playing much, but he's doing the right thing at the right time.
Big hit there on Kozar, too.
He did well to get that ball off.
2nd and 4 for Cleveland. 2:23 to go in the game. The Browns down by 2 touchdowns. Four-man rush, and they're chasing Kozar every time. Deep downfield this time. Slaughter was out of bounds, and it's intercepted by Homo. And now it's time to call in the dogs and put out the fire.
While the hat was thrown down, the ball was legally intercepted. First down.
Here it is, Webster Slaughter. He actually steps out of bounds even before the, I believe, even before the ball came down to him. Right there. See, right there, he's out of bounds. Easy theft.
And that's just a mental mistake on the part of Webster Slaughter.
Not really. I don't want to go against you, but he was really
ahead.
scrambling at that particular time because Brandon was in trouble, so he didn't know what was going to happen, so he really didn't know where the sidelines were.
Okay. Yeah, but don't you have to be aware of that?
Not when you're scrambling, you do the best you can. I mean,
49ers will just try to run it out now, and Joe Cribbs on the toss. This will take us down to the 2-minute mark in the 4th quarter. The player whose on-field performance is complemented by significant community involvement. This year's nominees from the Browns, Bob Golick, the nose tackle, and from the San Francisco 49ers, safety Ronnie Lott. And the 49ers have the ball just working on the clock from their own 23-yard line, 2nd and 3. Rathman covers up the ball, got maybe a yard.
Got a couple of moments left in the game. Can you talk about your relationship with the Browns owner, Art Modell? How did it change after you left Cleveland?
yes, we had a love-hate relationship at Cleveland. Art was a great young businessman, came in with his dynamic attitude, got rid of Paul Brown. Blame me? No, he really didn't. And now, of course, we are friends. I think it's a very sensitive relationship. I respect him. He respects me.
The heart attack, though, changed your his heart attack changed your relationship.
Well, I think it changed. It would always change the way that anyone would look at things. It did change his attitude because, you know, you look at things different. Also, I think that the young players who get the $1 million contract kind of changed his mind about how I was.
Cribbs on the toss, trying to stay in bounds and doesn't do it. Got out to the 27, so he stops it with 1:11 to go. We invite you to stay tuned for Sports Center, which follows our broadcast. You'll bring you up to date on all the scores and the highlights. Here's what the quarterbacks have done tonight, and Joe Montana with an absolutely brilliant performance. 4 of those touchdown passes caught by Jerry Rice. Can't ask for much more than that. And Montana gets a congratulations with 1:11 to go. It is a first down for the 49ers. The Browns are out of timeouts. They can't stop the clock anymore, so Steve Young will now just kill the clock.
There you see the numbers, game by game for Jerry Rice. Sizzling Rice tonight. No doubt about it. He was cooking. Fabulous. Look at those numbers.
He made you look great.
Yeah.
He made you look great.
It was obvious. I mean, this is the guy that they went to. They've lived and died with Jerry Rice, and mostly lived.
The NFL record for consecutive games with a touchdown is 11. And Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch in 59 and 60, or 50 and 51, and Buddy Dial of the Steelers in 59 and 60 are the guys that did it. You don't want to bet against Jerry Rice tying that record. And that's the last time they'll have to snap the ball. Bill Walsh and Marty Schottenheimer. Walsh has been successful for a long, long time. Marty Schottenheimer has had great success early in his head coaching career with the Cleveland Browns, excuse me. It's been our pleasure to have Hall of Famer Jim Brown with us tonight. Jim, it was really enjoyable. Like to listen to your comments, and we wish you all a good luck in the world.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Roy. It's been a pleasure for me, too.
Thanks, JB.
Our final score here in San Francisco, the 49ers 38, the Cleveland Browns 24.